Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
You know, I found something that I think if we're all honest, if we're all real honest with ourselves, say that it could apply to us. Here it is. I have a brain like the Bermuda Triangle. Information goes in, never to be found again. I like that. Good morning. Here comes Kate Smith and God Bless America, followed by a Patriot with our Pledge of Allegiance on a Thursday. Good morning, and welcome to Zeb at the Ranch. I'm Zeb Bell, and our major sponsor, who we are deeply appreciative of, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, along with some great advertisers, and one of them, of course, Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. And, of course, let's see, you can get on the route service, 734-6969, along with Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Oh my, it's Thursday, and that means with a smiling face and probably a little bit of chicken fried steak with gravy over there. Good morning, Gina.
Good morning, Sunshine. How are you?
I really am confused, and I'll explain why a little bit later, but
okay.
When you, as a journalist and also as kind of the leader over there of the team at K-Bar and everywhere else, Cat Country, etc., you've got to be a little confused yourself when you look at the news and try to put together like a jigsaw puzzle, why?
It's kind of a conundrum sometimes of what they do in the newsroom nowadays.
Yeah, and I've got a story coming up, and I'm going to save it for you to digest and give me some remarks in about maybe 10 minutes or so, because I just sat there, scratched my head, and said, I didn't think we could go any lower than what we are.
Well, apparently they're setting the bar.
Oh, my. And do we have a pledger?
Me or Michael?
Well, there again, I mean, your dulcet tones. Go ahead.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Very well done. Thank you very much. And let's not forget our friends bringing the weather to you. Cheney Flooring and Home Design, 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for their blue door. And tomorrow on February 6th, they're going to have that special girls' night out. Hey, gals, there you go. It's from 6 to 7:30, and it's only $8, and they're making an adorable, they said, coffee filter heart wreath for Valentine's Day. Oh, you better get down there. And that's, of course, at Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Call them. They'll give you all the information. Girls' night out tomorrow night, 678-6945. They're located at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Right now, here's Michael Rogers' weather.
Kind of a weird situation one day, everybody. And the reason why I say weird is because it's just too normal. It's just too comfortable. It's just too odd. And this is where the people with the National Weather Service go like, oh, it's okay. And then the weather gets crazy. And you're on the radio criticizing us because we gave you the wrong forecast. So where am I going with this? So you got a break for today as far as the rain is concerned. You still got that Pineapple Express. It's going to kick in Friday night, Saturday. The whole 9 yards. The temperature is going to be in the 50s, and the overnight low is going to be comfortable. It's just going to be comfortable, but for some reason I just got this feeling That may not work out that way. I don't know why, but I do. But this much I can tell you. Right now, if you stay at the bottom of the hill in the Magic Valley, you're going to get rain. You're going to get mild temperatures. If you go anyplace else, up higher, further east, further west, you're going to run into a mess. Snow at higher elevations, windy conditions, the whole 9 yards. So that being said, I think I covered everything. That way, if I'm wrong, you know what I'm going to say next. Weather can't read. But otherwise, in your forecast for today, you got a break before the rain starts, and it's going to take you through the weekend. You're going to get another break on Saturday, and then you'll pick right back up Sunday night going into Monday with rain. Otherwise, enjoy the day, enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you, Michael. Excellent job. Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Don't forget, gals, the big girls' night out party at Cheney Flooring and Home Design tomorrow night from 6 to 7:30. Call them. They'll tell you all about it. 678-6945. Located at 1228 Oakley Avenue in Burley. Look for the blue door. Merv May, come on in and sell that bunch of steers.
Steer calves, they're here to get $1.30. 1 moment, I am 31, going up, I am 32, 2, and I am 3.
Oh, that's the chant of Merv May. I think the world's best auctioneer right there. That man knows how to get that chant going. Merv May, Cade Rogge, Lance Udy, everybody at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley, with sale time this morning at 10 a.m. Here's a partial list of the run that's going to be there today. Kevin Gergen over to Hazelton. Hello, Kevin. 155 head of 700-pounders. Those are ripping good cattle. And Dean Shaw over to Sequoia, 28 head of 800-pounders. Lance Westmoreland over to Park Valley. Good folks over at Park Valley, 25 head of 400 to 500-pounders. BYU Ranches over to Malda, 75 head of 725-pound heifers. And we got butcher cows coming in from P-Bar S Dairy at Malda, semi-load. Oak Valley Dairy at Murtaugh, 70 head of cows. TLK Dairy, Mountain Home, 32 head of butcher cows. Moo Mountain's bringing butcher cows. So is Southridge Dairy bringing butcher cows. Sale time at 10 a.m. sharp. Ripping good sale at the Burley Livestock Sale Yard, 1100 Occidental Avenue in Burley. And sale time, 10 a.m. Merv, sell those steers.
All right, good set of steer calves. They're here to get $1.30. 1 moment, I am 31, going up, I am 32, 2, and I am 3, and I have 134, 4, and I am 5, and I am 5, and I am 130, 550, 135, and I am selling $1.35. Zeb Mail, get bottom again.
Yeah, baby, you got that right. I'll tell you. I always buy high, sell low. Anyway, we got a lot of things to tell you about here this morning, and I want to get right into it. Don't forget, over at Mad Max's Magic Valley Tire in Paul. Yes, it is Saturday, February 14th, Valentine's Day, the big chili cook-off. And if you want to get in the chili contest, they're going to judge at 10:30 that morning. And old Max says, there's never been a chili that I can't sink my grinners into. Never too hot. Never too hot. Let's make sure we try to challenge him on that. Call Amber at 438-8444 if you'd like to enter. And then at 11, they're going to have cinnamon rolls and chili, all free to the public at Magic Valley Tire on Saturday, February 14th. Going to be a lot of fun. Ramsey Heating and Electric. Oh, yeah. All your electric needs right there at Ramsey Heating and Electric. 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. And they've got where you can buy one or a package of quality air filters. Your furnace is doing all the work. All you do is take your thumb and your forefinger and kind of turn the dial up a little bit, and you expect that old furnace to just jump right to attention and make you warm. Well, make sure you take care of it with quality air filters from Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, where they always provide warm winters and cool summers. Also, at the end of the month, do not forget the Mini-Cassia Lincoln Day Luncheon and Banquet, which will be held on Saturday, February the 28th. At Maury's Steakhouse in Burley. The meet and greet starts at 12 noon. A lot of shaking hands and meeting the politicians. And then at 1 lunch. So everybody try to be there. I will be, definitely with my lovely bride. And we'll look for you. Oh, it's the Lovebird Sale at Valley White Home and Ranch. We're going to have them on later on this morning. Mandy's going to be talking about the Lovebird Sale. All clothing and jewelry and belts and Western boots, 25% off. And don't forget to register for the big Valentine's Day giveaway. It's a romantic night stay in the honeymoon suite at the Best Western, plus 2 desserts from Perkins. There's a comment there. And $50 gift card to the Upper Crust Grill. Whoa, that is a neat package from Valley Wine Home and Ranch. Get over there and get registered today, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Okay. You know, there are so many things going on in the world today where you just sit and you have to shake your head as to, you didn't think it could get any worse. You didn't think we could sink any lower. I got to get Gina involved in this because, you know, whether her and I agree or not on various subjects is totally irrelevant, because it's always good to have a good conversation and maybe a difference of opinion that can be debated out. Gina, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. You sound so enthusiastic this morning. I can just tell that you're ready with your feet in the starting blocks and you're waiting for the gun to go off.
I'm just clicking buttons.
Listen to this. This is another sign that the world is turning into a cesspool of ridiculousness.
Okay.
You, as I've said many times in other stories, you work very hard for your money. And you're supportive of your young son Kennedy, and you're making a go of it as a single person that's just meeting the world head on and saying, I'm going to get you. And your dollars mean a lot to you, as they do me and have all my life. But how do you feel, honestly, about, and this is the gist of the story, providing your tax dollars and my tax dollars to provide transgender hormone therapy to illegal aliens?
Stop the bus, Gus. I don't want, that's not what I want my money going for.
I couldn't believe this.
Who's approving this?
Here's the deal. The U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement officials testified, I've got it right here in my hand, you can look it up, testified that transgender illegal immigrants, detainees, have a right to transition-related hormone therapy at our taxpayer dollar expense. And here's what they said. The official spokesman said, and he assured the commission that it is a right by illegal detainees to access treatment of hormone therapy when they're transgenders at our expense.
No. You know, if they want kind of that hormone, they can go somewhere else. Go back home. But you can't be coming into my country expecting me to pay for your sex change. Sorry, it's going to happen.
This is just so repulsive to me, as is the entire transgenderism attitude. But here's the official statement that they sent out. Quote, transgender detainees who were already receiving hormone therapy when taken into ICE custody shall have continued access. All transgender detainees shall have access to mental health care and other transgender-related health care and medication based on medical need. Treatment shall follow accepted guidelines regarding medically necessary transition-related care. You, me, everybody's paying for it, and they're not citizens. They don't have any rights in this country.
Why? Okay, let me wrap my mind around this. Number one, whose bad idea was this?
I guess it was through the courts. You know, they court-appointed attorneys, and it was assumed that when it was pushed forward to the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, they said, oh, no, that's not a problem. The United States taxpayers will pay for the hormone therapy to these transgenders because that is their right. You know, where do you go on a story like this?
I don't know where you go on a story like this. I mean, seriously, number one, I'm even shocked that this is even going to be allowed. Number two, how many taxpayers truly know about this? And number three, We need to stand up and stop this. This is not where I want my tax dollars going.
You know, and I think you'll agree with me on this. I am a very conservative person that believes in borders. I believe in guidelines to run a country by. I believe without borders, you've got nothing but mass chaos, which we're seeing now. And we're the only country in the world that does not verify, justify, and employ the effort to maintain their borders.
Only because of said administration. He's pretty much let our borders be open like Swiss cheese, and anybody and everybody can walk across without being vetted.
Now, I would say this, and I think you'll have something to say on this part of it. If you go to Austria, if you go to Spain, if you go to Japan, if you go anywhere in the world, and you have this kind of a mindset, I dare say that your demands to that government are not going to be met. They're going to be scoffed and laughed at, and you will be put out of the country.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you go anywhere in the world, you have to have your passport, you have to have your ID, you have to be able to prove who you are and what country you're coming from. And if I was to go to, say, Switzerland or France or wherever, and I was demanding all this, they would laugh me right out of the country.
Amen.
Sister, you're off your rocker. You need your meds. Go back home.
I want you to go to Ben Shapiro's Truth and Revolt on the computer, and there's a huge picture. You've got to see this picture. It shows an illegal alien holding a sign that doesn't say illegal alien. It says immigrant rights, and LGBT rights. Gina, they have no rights if they're illegally.
I'm sorry, if you are here illegally, you have no rights.
Oh my goodness.
You come into this country, you go through all of the proper steps, yes, you have rights. But if you're an illegal alien, you don't have any rights, period.
I am just absolutely mystified as to how come we, the general public, are allowing this to happen. Caller, good morning, you're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb.
Yes.
You talked about that. This open border and people coming in from all parts of the world, this country will definitely be divided into many different countries.
Absolutely.
And when this happens, these countries will be fighting one another. There'll never be any peace on this continent again as long as these borders are open.
I agree. And Tony, you've been on this earth a little longer than I have. And this insanity of people coming to this country illegally and then demanding that you, Tony, and me, Zeb, and Gina, and everybody else pay for their weirdness is absolutely deplorable.
Well, it's the same old story. A country that loses its borders loses its country. So we're right there at this point right now.
I agree. Tony, always good to hear from you. God bless you, man. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
You know, Gina, the thing is, I wish the taxpayers, all of a sudden, when they go to their CPAs or whatever, I wish there was some way that we could stage a tax revolt right now. I really do. I think a tax revolt and the paying of taxes is absolutely necessary. Here we have the slovenly run IRS that has so many charges against it for being illicit, being illegal, being absolutely a terribly run organization, and yet they can turn around and they can hold the gun to our head, the taxpayers, and make any and all demands that they want, take away our property, throw us in jail. I mean, this is America?
This is not the America that I was raised in. Nor you.
Nor myself. I think it's high time, past time, to hold Crapo and everybody else's feet to the fire so they get some scorched souls and just absolutely let them know this has gone beyond the pale. Giving my money. I'm 67 years old and I'm still working. And they're giving my tax dollars to a transgender illegal for hormone shots? You've got to be kidding me.
You know, that makes me angry that they would actually allow this to happen. And I think that the regular American populace, they're too busy watching TV, they're too busy watching the reality shows to really pay attention to what's truly going on around our country. So they're probably unaware. They don't know.
Why don't we just take dollar bills over to the commode and put them in the water and flush them down the drain?
Because that's exactly what we're doing. And then when these illegal aliens who are in detention right now get all of their treatment and sent back home, They're probably going to stay home. They probably came over here to get said hormone
Bingo.
so they can go back home and live their life.
This is nuts.
Makes me mad.
You know, and here's the deal. Whether, again, we agree or disagree on certain subjects, the liberal attitude of, oh, well, we've got to help these people. Oh, well, yeah, we've got to give them this. We've got to give them that. We've got to give them welfare. We've got to give them medical aid. We've got to give them food. We've got to give them lodging. We've got to give them driver's license. We've got to give them a car. We've got to give them hormone shots for the transgenders. What are we doing? Oh, hang on, caller. I'll be right there. My blood pressure is way out of whack. Barry Equipment and Rental, Eli, the old Packer backer, and Nick and the whole crew there they're at Agri-Action starting today, as a matter of fact. And by golly, you better get on in there. They've got the equipment to do any job right. That's right. If you buy a Doosan loader, they will throw in a Bobcat UTV while they're at Agri-Action. Oh, my. You better check it out. They've got 3 locations: Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, South Lincoln and Jerome, 159 West Highway 30 in Burley. Absolutely the best for all your equipment needs. They are the best. Barry Equipment and Rental. You see them at Agri-Action. Real quick, caller, I know I'm holding you up, and I apologize. I want to remind everybody about our friends at Denny's Restaurant. Oh, my. I love talking about Denny's, but rather than talk, I'd rather show some action and go in there and enjoy a breakfast or a lunch or a dinner. I love the breakfast at Denny's. That's my favorite meal. And there's 2 locations in Burley, 611 Overland, and a new one on 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Amen. I'll tell you, that menu is fantastic. The people are so friendly at Denny's Restaurants, the home of Zeb's Lunch Bunch. Denny's Restaurant. You stop in and see them today. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes. How are you doing?
I'm good. Go ahead.
Okay. Now, I don't want to step on toes because I've just got something that irks me this time of the year. If you need help and welfare, that's fine if you need it. But all these people that don't work, and your illegal immigration is going to tie into this. If the government takes care of you all year with welfare, food stamps and stuff, why at tax time do they get rebates of anywhere from $8,000 to $14,000? Because, in my opinion, if you've been on welfare all year, why should you get a rebate? That should go back into the funds for supporting you.
Absolutely. You know, you just summed up another great big animosity that I have against our government and the way it's being run. In a charitable situation that has run amok. You know, that's like, there's no comparison. People that are on the dole, and please understand me that there are people that need welfare assistance and they need help, but the word temporary has to be fit in there someplace. They've got to learn to be self-reliant and self-sufficient and get back on their own 2 feet. But like you stated, they're on the dole, they're getting the freebies, and then to get a rebate, you talk about a double treasure chest, they're getting it.
Yeah. Well, I've got a friend that works for the Forest Service, okay? He's got a guaranteed job March 15th. He's laid off for 14 weeks, okay? If he was laid off for 12, he would not have to go out and look for a job and fill out applications. Because it extends that extra 2 weeks. For 14 weeks, he has to go out and look for a job. And me and him sit there and debate, why don't these people that can work, why don't they have to do the same thing? Go out and say, where have you been looking for a job at?
Yeah. I want you, real quick, and make it a short answer because I've got a hard break here at the bottom of the hour. I want you to respond to what this absolute lunacy is about giving hormonal shots to transgender illegal aliens at our expense. Please, tell me your thoughts.
Zeb, I can't say it over the radio, okay?
Okay. God bless you for your call. Have a good day. Thank you.
The FCC would ban you, okay?
Okay. Thanks a lot for saving my job. All right. Thank you.
Bye.
All right. I understand where he's coming from. This is lunacy. Absolute lunacy. I mean, they've opened up the loony bin and they're chasing people with nets right now. Holy smokes. Take a deep breath. Breathe in. Breathe out. Do you feel better? Not on your life. Pacific Steel and Recycling is going to bring you now the Capital Press Ag Minute, 320 West Main in Burley. Oh, my goodness. They've got a lot of new steel. People don't realize they've got all the new steel, angle iron, flat iron, tubing, channel iron, and they carry all the trailer parts. Man, I'm telling you, I've learned a lot by checking out Pacific Steel and Recycling at 320 West Main in Burley. All with superior customer service, that is, and really drive-through recycling, pickup service, and roll-off containers. They can help you at Pacific Steel and Recycling, 320 West Main in Burley. Here's the Capital Press Ag Minute.
Today's Ag Minute brought to you by the Capital Press, the West Ag Weekly. Research geneticist Roy Navarre sees unmet opportunity in baby potatoes for the spud industry to reach consumers who place a premium on aesthetically pleasing, highly nutritious gourmet ingredients. Navarre, with the USDA's Prosser Washington Agricultural Research Service, has analyzed baby potatoes and found some lines have comparable levels of healthy phytonutrients as spinach and broccoli. Any plant-derived nutrient useful in the human diet is considered a phytonutrient. Baby potatoes are selected for high tuber sets and low bulking and are typically harvested at golf ball size just 60 to 80 days after planting. They tend to require fewer inputs and have less disease trouble than regular spuds. This is Brandon Tenner. For more agriculture news and information, turn to the West Ag Weekly, the Capital Press, and capitalpress.com.
Brought to you by some wonderful folks. These are really community-oriented folks at Pacific Steel and Recycling, 320 West Main in Burley, bringing you the Capital Press Ag Minute. Oh, man, I'm just rolling my eyes this morning. I can't believe this stuff you find in the news, and it's happening with our tax dollars. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Zeb. There's a couple state issues that people need to be aware of that are real critical as far as if we really want to take the wind out of the Common Core sales. And there's a House Bill 65 that is being held up in the House Ways and Means Committee, and I understand Speaker Bedke is not also, he could get it released if he would use a little influence there. And what this would do is give school districts the option of getting out of this high-stakes, very expensive, time-consuming test. It's a federal test, and of course it doesn't fit into the standards, or I should say the values of Idaho. And so the Madison School Superintendent has had his representative from Rexburg area introduce this bill, but it's being held up by the House Ways and Means Committee, and they can literally kill a bill, even though it's, generally would be accepted. And so people need to get hold of members of the House Ways and Means Committee and also Speaker Bedke and get that thing out for a vote. This Common Core thing is so bad, and people know that this is the case, and but anyway,
yeah.
The other issue...
Real quick, Adrian, real fast. I got to get a commercial in here. Go real fast.
This is real important, is that our state, it looks like they're moving forward towards introducing a bill to in the Senate up there to get us involved in another constitutional convention call. And this would be deadly. If we ever let our Constitution go to a constitutional convention, we will be in big trouble, because they can't limit the agenda, despite what Governor Kasich and some of those from that way of thinking.
All right, we're going to be talking to Senator Cameron on Monday about these issues, with that possibility of a constitutional convention and other issues, and I do appreciate your thoughts on that this morning. Thank you very much for your call, Adrian. Appreciate it. Let's not forget our friends. I got to get these in. I'm running a little bit behind. Scows CarQuest Centers. Yes, auto and truck parts, and every detail matters. Hey, don't forget at Scows. They've got 3 locations. Scows CarQuest in Rupert, 323 East 8th Street and Highway 25. CarQuest Conquest of Burley, 518 Overland, and the Big Truck Center at exit 211 I-84. And, of course, sign up now for the Fleet Filter Survey. Yes, great way to save time. When something breaks down this spring, all you have to do is call them, identify the truck, and, hey, man, they've got all the records on it. And Scow's CarQuest has teamed up with Baldwin Filters, the best heavy-duty filters in the industry. Scow's CarQuest, auto and truck parts, where every detail matters, you get a hold of Scow's. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Here's a story that really gripes me, and I don't understand why the judge did this. And if you have any common sense thoughts on this, please give me a call and let me know. For those of you that are unaware, the Aaron Hernandez murder trial is going on right now back east. Aaron Hernandez was a receiver for the New England Patriots, a very, very good football player, and he got mixed up with some very, very bad people. And he is up on murder charges. That kind of gives you a real small recap of what's going on with Aaron Hernandez. And yesterday, in the courtroom, as they've started their court proceedings on this murder trial, the judge, now pay close attention to this, the judge at that murder trial, when the mother of the victim that supposedly Hernandez shot was called to the stand to testify, the judge, after she had taken the oath and sat down, leaned over to the mother and she said, "Now remember, don't you cry, don't you show any emotion, because it could influence the jury." Whoa! I mean, I sat there and I heard that, and I thought, here's the mother, regardless of what her son was or had done, he was murdered. And the mother is warned by the judge not to show any emotion, not to cry or get emotional in a trial. How do you do that? How do you remain stone cold when it's your child they're talking about that was murdered? And I don't think the judge had the right at all to say that to the mother. What are your thoughts? Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. To me, that was completely out of bounds. And quite frankly, I think the prosecution should have somehow chastised the judge. But your thoughts, give me a jingle, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I got to call Gina back in here again because, Gina, here's a story, and I would really like you to read it and appreciate how it was written in the USA Today yesterday. Do you have an opportunity to turn this up on your computer?
What is it?
The story that a couple of Bo Bergdahl's mates that were in the service together at his camp wrote, Evan Buteau and Cody Full. They were U.S. Army mates in Afghanistan with him in the camp that he deserted. Oh my, you've got to read this. It's a 3-column story, and they ask some very poignant questions. They are not going to be shut up by the Army. They are not going to let their story go unnoticed. And here's one that I want to talk to you about real quick. In the story, after Bo Bergdahl left camp, listen to this. Several local villagers reported seeing an American fitting Bo Bergdahl's description that morning, including one Afghan boy who said he saw a soldier crawling through tall grass away from the camp. And they said later, locals that were listening on the radio trying to intercept messages from the enemy reported hearing the locals discussing an American that was asking to contact the Taliban.
Yeah, that's old news.
Yeah, I know, but this is in their letter. This is in their letter that they're asking for. This isn't old news with these guys. It just came out yesterday. They have been threatened not to say anything, and these two stepped forward and said, wait a minute, we want answers to these questions as to why our troop, our platoon, has to sit back and not say anything when this guy is working in an office, I believe down in San Antonio, Texas, and nobody's doing anything. Nobody's turning out a report. Nobody's telling whether he was a deserter or worse, and these guys are stepping forward, naming all the allegations, and they want answers. And let's see what happens to these two gentlemen from this point on.
So what's the title of the news story?
It is Bergdahl Report Held Hostage.
Oh, Bergdahl Decision Report Held Hostage?
Yes, no, just Bergdahl Report Held Hostage. Those are the words that were used on the headline. And it was on the op-ed page yesterday on USA Today, and I thought it was extremely well written by Evan Buteau and Cody Foll, members of the 2nd Platoon, Blackfoot Company, and the 1st Battalion, 501st Regiment that served with him.
I'll look at it.
Yeah, look at that. And their voices need to be heard. Their voices need to be heard. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Another story that was a little upsetting this morning to me. You hear these stories about 911 dispatchers, and you hear these stories about how they seem so aloof and not caring and very demanding when people are in stressful situations. Well, a young girl just witnessed her dad and his fiance getting hit by a truck as they were changing a tire on the side of the road. And very, very unfortunately, her father died from the injuries. This girl picked up her dad's cell phone and was very shaken, absolutely to the point of hysteria. And she called in, and all the dispatcher could do was tell her, quote unquote, to stop whining.
What?
Yeah. Stop whining. The dispatcher, as of this morning, is no longer a 911 dispatcher.
Good.
Gone. But in a time, and younger people like this girl, my goodness, she just witnessed a horrific accident with a truck hitting her dad and the fiance while they were changing a tire, and the father died from his injuries. Can you imagine the trauma and the hysteria that this girl was going through?
I can completely imagine. And so for a dispatcher who obviously needs some common sense and how to learn a little bit of compassion, stepped way out of line.
Oh, my.
Because this girl is emotional. She's reaching out for help, and for the dispatcher to be so cold as to say, stop whining.
Stop whining.
I'm sorry. I would have been reaching. Of course, I'm a mom, and so this is the mom coming out in me. I would have reached through that phone and pummeled that dispatcher.
I just can't imagine that. I mean, there's so many things that are happening right here. First of all, the girl had the wherewithal in this tragedy and trauma to pick up the phone and call 911, and can you imagine she's absolutely seeing her father laying there on the pavement dying. And I think at any age...
An apology from anybody within the department?
That is not a part of the story that I'm aware of this morning as far as apologies are concerned. I'm sure there will be. But the fact that the dispatcher, no human compassion, stop whining. I mean, wow, that's cold. That's cold.
That is very cold, and I don't know of any dispatcher that would be getting away with that.
I don't know how you'd react to those calls. I don't know how I'd react to that call if it came in and we were, let's say, 911 dispatchers. But, I think the best thing to do, you try to get the information as fast as you can. What mile marker are they at? What location? Is there any identifying businesses there or whatever, so we can get somebody on the road right away? But comforting, I know you're upset. Please help me. I'm trying to help you, that type of thing, in a very consoling voice, but you don't tell somebody in that situation, stop whining.
No, you don't. Dispatchers are trained to have compassion, to be patient, and to calm the person down on the other end of the line, because this is what they do. Their job is to calm the other person down on the other end of the line, get the information, and get help to them as fast as possible.
Absolutely.
Not to be rude and demeaning and say, well, stop whining so I can get the information, is basically what I'm getting out of it.
Yeah, and there's circumstances in life, I mean, my goodness, the girl's dad had just got completely obliterated by a truck, and the fiance hurt severely. I mean, anyone, regardless of the age, you're not going to be in a hysteric type situation?
Oh, I would be flipping out.
Oh, my. We got to get a weather forecast in here, and the weather this hour is brought to you by Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. And, of course, the very best of firearms, Browning, Beretta, Weatherby, Ruger, Benelli, Smith & Wesson, Winchester, the big names, and all the accessories, all the ammunition, and a staff that has all the knowledge, too, at Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. Here now, Michael Rogers weather.
Hi, everybody. Michael Rogers for Zeb at the Ranch. Right now, your temperatures are going to be in the 50s all the way through Monday. You got a break today and tonight and Friday. You'll see rain on Friday night, Saturday night. Get a break on Sunday. Pick back up on Sunday night. So what you got is a mess. It's going to take you pretty much to the weekend. Highs today 56, overnight low 44. Friday more the same. You're going to stay in the 50s with this warm, moist flow that's coming off the Pacific. I called it yesterday the Pineapple Express. So enjoy the weather, Shirley. What do you got?
Thank you, Michael. Appreciate it. Brought to you by Red's Trading Post, 203 5th Avenue South in Twin Falls. I got to get another little story on here that, this man is one of the most despicable characters, formerly in politics, hopefully never again. And I'm talking about former professional WWF wrestler turned Minnesota governor turned absolute jerk, Jesse Ventura. Now, if the audience remembers, 2 years ago, and I can't remember if Gina was doing the program then or not, or who was running the board, but we had Jesse Ventura booked to come on this program. And hold on, caller, I'll be right with you. I just want to finish the story. We had Jesse Ventura booked to come on this program. A couple of days previous, I had called him at his office, talked to him about coming on this program. He consented. There were a lot of things in the paper at that time that with his political run, his political stance on certain things, I wanted to get him on the air. He's a libertarian. And he consented to come on the program, and the day of the show, on my show, he backed out and did not come on the show. He was nowhere to be found. This man is the biggest flake, biggest jerk, and worthless con man. And the way he has treated Chris Kyle, the estate, and his wife and everything, it's absolutely despicable. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
I wouldn't give you 2 cents to listen to him say one word.
Well, that's fine and dandy. He's a member of the news, and we were trying to get him on so that we could finally get some more information.
He's a phony. He always has been. But, Zeb, what I'm really upset about is last night we were sitting here watching the thing, and it come across the bottom about President Obama inviting, 20-some Islamic people into his office. Nobody knows who they are, where they're from, or anything else. Now, that's what I call treason.
Al, I said it yesterday, and I'm going to stand behind my statement, and I think you will agree with me. You know, there is such a movement, even in Twin Falls, on the refugee programs, to be bringing in all the Muslim refugees from around the world, Syria, etc. But have you read of one story where they possibly would be bringing from those Middle Eastern countries Christian refugees?
No, not a one. I mean, it seems like they're persecuting us, the other citizens, and letting them Islamic people get away with murder and all that stuff. And it's just getting to the point where if Crapo and them don't start standing up and tell Bonnie to start treason proceedings and impeachment against this president of the United States, then I'm about ready to give up and say to hell with it.
Well, the thing that gripes me is my dear friend Randy Givens, professor at the University of Texas, sent me this story, and it's absolutely a very well-written story by Leo Hormone, and more than 300,000 Syrian Christians are among the refugees driven from their homes because of the warring situation and factions over there. But have you honestly heard anything about them? It's always that we're giving refugee status to the Muslims.
That's right. I mean, it's just, let the worst get worser and to hell with the good guys.
I don't know. I'm just really... This whole world needs a great big can of Lysol. And I just don't know where we'd start first.
I don't either. But anyway, I liked your comment this morning about the Bermuda Triangle.
Well, it's true.
Well, I kind of know where you're coming from.
Yeah, because there's information in there that's never been heard from again.
And good Lord help us if it does.
Amen, brother.
Amen.
Thank you. All right, see you later. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Hey, don't forget Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. I'll be right with you, caller. Don't go away. Nick Greenwell, physical therapist, and his staff. They are fantastic. I'm going to be starting down there in a couple of days, back with more exercises. They know all the exercises. They know all the sports medicine. They got that hydrotherapy pool. Oh, the only pool like it around the area. Let me tell you, it really helps. Super friendly, knowledgeable staff. Call today. They'll help you get back to being you. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, 678-1191. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
Maybe you can answer this question for me. Al Sharpton's has 2 or 3 businesses, for-profit businesses that have been dissolved, evidently by the IRS. Now, he owes about $4 million. Is he still liable for that $4 million, or is this thing going to be written off and picked up by the taxpayers?
Well, you better add a little bit more to that, because yesterday we talked about this deal with Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton is not into just $4 million. Al Sharpton is now, with his businesses and the losses of taxes on the business, it's $4 million, but his own personal tax evasion is over $1.5 million, so he's now in over his head $5 million plus in debt on taxes, and there's not one single person that's doing anything to try to hold him to the fire.
Why isn't he behind bars?
Well, now, wait a minute. That's not fair to me, because how am I going to answer a question that should be obvious? He should be absolutely tried and thrown in jail. But you know as well as I do, he seems to be the man with the golden briefcase.
The Brotherhood.
Yeah.
Evidently.
I agree. Tony, good to hear from you again. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Calls welcome, 436-2244. I got to get Gina back on quickly for this. Here is a story about power and a lack of professionalism and a lack of being a person that appreciates the power they've been given. I got to sum this up. It's a long story, but I got to give it to you in a short way. A South Korean by the name of Cho Yun-ha. I got to say that again. It felt good. Cho Yun-ha, the daughter of Korean's air chairman. Guess what she did? She gets on a flight, her own flight, and she throws a tirade. I mean, she goes in berserk action. Why? Because one of her employees served her a bag of nuts in a bag instead of pouring them out on a dish. She went into a fit of rage. She demanded that the plane be turned around and go back to John F. Kennedy Airport in New York. She threw a, gotta watch my verbiage here, fit. And now prosecutors are going after her, and hopefully they're trying to get her 3 years in jail. Why? Because the stewardess served her nuts in a bag instead of the dish.
We all get served nuts in a bag when you're flying on a plane.
Not her!
Wow, is she like Miss Special Hoity-Toity?
She is Miss Hoity-Toity 2015. Look at her crown, look at her sash. And I got to say that slow and very articulately.
Yes, please do.
Yes, I will.
How do people, what? I mean, come on.
No.
Take yourself down a notch and don't have a big old ego. You're just like the rest of us.
She was served macadamia nuts that she thought absolutely should have had more class in a dish than in a bag, and she went nutso.
Well, I guess the dish maybe should be a paper cup and no crystal for her.
Personally, they should have opened the door and said, enjoy your first step.
Yes, amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Yes.
Isn't that funny how people think they're so much better than other people?
You know, and here's my philosophy. We all put on our pants one leg at a time.
Yeah.
Nobody's any better than anybody else. We all come from, the same place.
My uncle always used to say, heck, in 100 years, we're all going to stink.
It's true, too.
You're right. I got to pay some bills while I still have somebody to pay the bills. Don't forget the big Founders Day celebration at Les Schwab. You better believe it, Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. And in honor of Les Schwab, what a great man. They've got some special savings for you, like $20 off wheel alignment when you buy 4 new tires. And speaking of new tires, they've got all-season tread economically priced tires, some starting as low as just $39.99. Oh, my. And, of course, the very, very best in brake service. Those folks over there, no brakes. The best in batteries. And, of course, the best in front-end alignment, shocks, and struts. All of this and much, much more with each and every location. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley, the best, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Whew, good first hour. Fun. And thank you for all your calls. We are going to come back at 9:06 with the Chamber of Commerce report. And talking to Kay. And then, of course, we got Dog Nation coming up. We've got Rita Ramsey coming up. We've got all kinds of good things, starving to death, you name it. And we invite you to stay with us for the rest of the morning. Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch on K-Bar. We'll be back in 6 minutes. Don't you go away. Good morning. My goodness, it does look like a storm's coming in this morning. Morning. I'm Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch, with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you, and of course some of our great advertisers that include like Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. Let's not forget our dear friends at Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with Joel Heward, his family and staff, always searching out to help you with the arrangements if there's the passing of a loved one, and always with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity serving you. They pledge to serve you as you would want to be served and treat your loved ones as you would want your loved one to be treated. Please call them at 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, serving you and your family. By the way, too, every morning that we're on the air, we open our program with the weather forecast with Michael Rogers, and it's brought to you by Cheney Flooring and Home Design. Wonderful, wonderful people. Earlier this morning I mentioned, don't forget, tomorrow night, Friday, February 6th, from 6 to 7:30, they're having a girls' night out right there at the store, all about Valentine's decorations and everything else. Going to be great, and call them for more information at 678-6945. Look for the Blue Door, Cheney Flooring and Home Design, all their newly refurbished furniture, and just wonderful people for all your home decor needs, kitchen construction, etc. You're going to love these folks. Cheney Flooring and Home Design in Burley. Look for their Blue Door. Right now, let's go via the telephone line, over the river and through it used to be snow, now it's mud. Good morning, Kay Cameron at the Minnecasia Chamber of Commerce.
Well, good morning, Zeb.
How are you?
I'm great. It's such a beautiful morning. It's just so sunny, and it looks like it's going to be a beautiful day.
I certainly hope so, but I got to tell you, the grass is greening up. There are 2 robins sitting out behind my chair in my studio, and would somebody please call robins, etc., and tell them it's too early?
Well, it is too early, and they might as well come and enjoy it, because we all know that come March and April, we're going to experience winter, because we can't just continue to have this nice weather.
Absolutely. What's going on over at the Chamber of Commerce? I'll bet you've got a plethora of items.
Oh, we've always got a plethora of items going on, but today I want to talk about a program, a statewide program that's going on in Idaho. It's called Accelerate Idaho. And I don't know if this is, oh, you hear that alarm in the background? That's my remember to call Zeb Bell alarm, which I snoozed last time instead of turning off. So, but anyways, we have a program statewide called Accelerate Idaho. The governor launched it this fall. And what this is a program to recruit talented people back to the state of Idaho. I was in a meeting this morning and had a conversation with Chet from over the Department of Labor, and from the December numbers for our unemployment in the Mini-Cassia area were 4.3% unemployment. And, no, wait, I got that flipped. It's 3.4% unemployment, which anybody who knows unemployment rates knows that is pretty low. And anybody out there who has a business and they're looking to hire employees knows that they are having a hard time filling jobs. The thing that we've been hearing for quite some time from businesses is we're having a hard time finding qualified candidates and these talented people that have moved away and gone and taken jobs in other states and other areas. And we need to bring these talented people back to Idaho, and it's not just to the Mini-Cassia area, it's statewide. And so this Accelerate Idaho program is a program in which they are doing a direct connection between businesses that are seeking these talented people and job seekers that have these talents. And so the Department of Labor is working with them to help make these connections and make this happen. But we do have a lot of talented people that have left here, and we really want to bring them back. And so there's a great video that the governor has commissioned and put together. And if you just Google Governor Idaho, Accelerate Idaho video, you'll find it on YouTube. But it talks about all of the great things that we have here in Idaho and all the great opportunities we have. And in fact, at our annual banquet last week, we talked about all of the great things that we have here in Mini-Cassia. We have a lot of great reasons to come back. And we just want people to be aware that there is a need to recruit these talented people. So if any of the listeners out there, have family members that they want to get closer to home, then they should really go to the Accelerate Idaho website and find out how they can start working on making some of those connections, and so we can start bringing some of these people back.
I really like that. It looks like a comprehensive program to really keep a lot of talented people not only here working in Magic Valley, but also kind of keep families together, too.
Absolutely. I often hear, well, there's just not opportunities. My kids had to go elsewhere, but the reality is we have opportunities and we have real needs. And you talk to these businesses and they'll say, well, yeah, I've had this position open for a couple of years because I cannot find somebody with the skill set that I need to come and fill the job, and those types of things. And so it is real, and there is a need. And we do have a great community. We have a great area. It's a great place to live. Great family-friendly, lots of recreational opportunities. It's safe. We have good schools, all these great programs, and so we really want to bring these people back.
I couldn't agree more. I love the idea of that program, and I like the idea that people, this going all over the country and saying, well, I'm going to go work in Pottstown, Pennsylvania, and your family's out here. When there's opportunities and you want to stay close to your family, your parents, your brothers and sisters, whatever, man, there's a lot of chances to do that right here.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So go check it out. Again, the website is Accelerate Idaho. It's accelerate.idaho.gov, or just Google Accelerate Idaho. Go talk to the folks at the local Department of Labor, because they're directly involved, or if there's a business out there that wants to have more information about that, talk to them. They're the ones, I think they're the agency that's kind of spearheading this and kind of helping it along. But the YouTube video is really great. It's really fun and exciting, and it does remind you of all the great things that we have in Idaho, but also just think about all the great things that we have right here in Mini-Cassia, because we do have a lot.
I agree. Anything else real quick? I'm running a little bit over.
Nope, that's just it. Everybody have a safe weekend. Enjoy the weather while we've got it, but be careful out there.
And you have 37 ways they can contact the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce.
Well, first of all, come by and see us. We'd love to see you. 1177 7th Street in Hayburn on the beautiful Snake River. Give us a call at 208-679-4793. Find us online at minicassiachamber.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and connect on LinkedIn.
All right. Kay Cameron, Director of the Mini-Cassia Chamber of Commerce. Have a great week. Thanks, Kay.
Thanks, and bye-bye.
You bet. Take care. Nice lady right there. And calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I saw a commercial on television about a week ago, and it was one of those commercials. I hate to call it a commercial. It was kind of like a public service announcement, and it just absolutely broke my heart. And I'm going to talk about that in just a minute and see if you have seen the same commercial. Don't forget, Valentine's Day is right around the corner, and if you haven't got the shopping done for your lovey, you better stop into Whipple's Book Plaza at 222 West 11th Street in Burley. Colonel Dale and the crew at Whipple's Book Plaza have that perfect gift for your Valentine. And if you mention that you heard this ad on Zeb at the Ranch, hey, you'll get 10% off your purchase, unless, of course, the purchase is already marked down. Well, they've got 3 floors of books and precious moments and greeting cards, art supplies, crafts, everything at Whipple's Book Plaza. It's also the home of the National Pioneer Hall of Fame and American Heritage Museum. You go in there today, Whipple's Book Plaza, 222 West 11th Street in Burley. And we're going to talk about food right now. Listen to this. Perkins Restaurant. I have always said they've got a bakery to die for. It is so delicious. Everything they make in that bakery, like the peanut butter cake pie and the red velvet brownies. And they've got Valentine's Day features to take your lovey over to eat, like coast-to-coast classics like the San Francisco shrimp stir-fry and the West Coast Cobb salad and the Monterey shrimp pasta and the Philly steak melt sandwich. Oh, that is good. You're going to love it at Perkins Restaurant, 800 North Overland in Burley. You celebrate Valentine's Day at Perkins. There you go. Oh, Valentine, I'm drooling all over the table here. My goodness sakes, that sounds delicious. Also, real quick reminder, and then I'm going to get Gina involved in this. Let's Ride, Highway 24 between Rupert and Hayburn, Rupert and Burley. It's right in between the whole shooting match over there, and I'll tell you what, they've got something for everybody. Snowmobiling, they've got the Skidoo snow machines. Yep, and all the accessories. Four-wheeling, yep, they got all the four-wheelers. Just walk on that showroom floor and just look at all the four-wheelers, and by golly, all the accessories. But I want to urge you, if you have four-wheelers, you better take them in there and get them serviced, because the way the weather looks, you'll be able to ride before too long. So stop in where the fun is sold. Let's Ride, Highway 24 between Rupert and Hayburn, waiting to serve you. I got to bother Gina real quick before we go to Dog Nation. Gina, are you right there? She left.
No, I'm here.
Oh. Do you watch TV at all in the evening?
No.
You don't?
No.
Well, did you see any television this past weekend?
Except for the Super Bowl, no.
Well, you're sure fun to talk to.
I don't watch television. I don't. I refuse. Well, I'll watch a little bit of PBS, and I'll let my son watch his cartoons, maybe a little bit of news in the morning. But other than that, I have no time.
Well, work with me on this, okay? Right. If by chance you happen to see a public service announcement for the Shriners Hospital, Oh, my goodness. This old, tough, supposedly cowboy broke down and had tears in his eyes when I saw that commercial about the kids.
Okay.
And I urge you, somehow, maybe you can pull it up on your computer. There is a little boy in a wheelchair, and he is the most articulate, absolutely the most handsome little boy you ever saw in your life that does the narration for that public service announcement. It's 60 seconds long. I will make you a bet for a steak dinner that if you watch him and listen to him at the end of that public service announcement, if you have dry eyes, I lose. You win.
Okay, I'll pull it up then.
And tell me that's not the cutest little kid you ever saw in your life, in a wheelchair. He's got dark hair, and he's got a smile, and those great big oh my goodness, his cheeks and everything. When he looks at the camera and he smiles and kind of makes a kind of a Gomer Pyle grin, it's going to melt your heart.
See, those, when I do watch commercials, when I actually do watch, I like those type of that tug at your heartstrings kind of feel-good commercials.
It got me.
Did it? Okay, I'll have to pull it up.
I tell you what, if you can look at it, I'll do a couple of commercials here, and if you can possibly pull it up, it's for the Shriners Hospital, and if you can get a look at it and then come back on the air before we go to Dog Nation, I'd sure appreciate that.
Okay.
All right, thanks. All right, we got to pay some bills, and we also want to remind you about Mount Harrison Audiology. Oh, my goodness, yes. Did you hear that? Did you hear that? Well, that's what I'm trying to tell you. There might be something wrong with your hearing. And you need to call Christine Pickup, Doctor of Audiology, at Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids right now today. Here's the number. Can you hear me? 312-0957. I'll say it again. 312-0957. Hearing loss is not a part of aging. It's not normal. So please, if you're noticing that you're going, what did he say, Martha? Be sure and get a hold of her today. 312-0957, Mount Harrison Audiology, with the Doctor of Audiology, Christine Pickup. Really nice lady. Oh, and by the way, too, I want to remind you about our dear friends, and they are Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Dean Cameron, Todd Siemens. These guys are really dedicated. I mean, they are dedicated and devoted to serving you with your insurance coverage, whether it's your life insurance, your health insurance, whether it's retirement planning or employee benefits. Hey, call them and just ask questions. That's how you get answers, and that's how you get service. So they are the best. Dean and Todd at Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Number to call, 436-4424. Don't miss that, okay? As I reminded you, it's going to be a ripping good time on Valentine's Day. Chili Championship over at Mad Max's Magic Valley Tire. Oh, my goodness. And Max issued a challenge. He said no chili ever in the history of mankind has been hot enough to get him to back up and go, whoa. He loves it hot. So I encourage somebody out there to really make some hot chili for Mad Max. They're going to have the judging at 10:30 that morning, and they're going to have 3 prizes given out to the top chilies, and then at 11 they're going to start eating cinnamon rolls chili, the whole 9 yards. If you'd like to enter your chili in the chili contest, call Amber at 438-8444. That's coming up on Saturday, February 14th at Magic Valley Tire over in Paul, and it will be delicious, let me tell you. Oh, boy. Gina, did you have a chance to look at that yet?
I did. It was really cute.
Yeah, that little boy in the wheelchair with the dark hair looking at the camera doing most of the narration, that kid will melt anybody's heart.
Oh, he is just adorable. Did I cry? No, but he is really, really adorable, and I love his little smile at the very end.
That's it. Right there. You got it. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just got this cute little smile at the very end before it pans away to him and then all of the phone numbers. And he's adorable.
Oh, my goodness.
He's stinking adorable.
Here I am, and that that really hit me, and I'll tell you what, a lot of people, I hope, had the same feeling, because that kid right there, I'd like to see if somehow I could find out who he is and get him on our program, because he is very articulate.
He is, and honestly, he is a great little spokesman for the Shriners Hospital. He does a great job. I wonder how many times they actually had to run him through that, and if they had a teleprompter, but I tell you what, that little kid, spot on.
But how old do you think he is? I'm not very good at judging ages. I wouldn't say he's over 8 or 9 years old.
I was going to say no more than 10. He's probably between the ages of 7 and 10.
Yeah, I agree with that. But did you notice that a lot of times people don't realize that they'll have it on cue cards or they'll have it on teleprompters, and he wasn't one of those kind of kids that just had his eyes going back and forth and everything?
No, he was looking directly at the camera, and, the way he articulated everything, he either practiced a lot or it truly came from his heart.
But, there was an articulation that a lot of kids that age don't have.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, my son doesn't have that kind of articulation. He's getting there, but with practice and me forcing him to say the words right, but even my son doesn't have that type of articulation.
I love that spot.
I know, me too.
Did I have a call coming in?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I'll tell you what. I'll be right with Morton in just a minute. Stand by. Don't forget our dear friends over at Parkview Rehabilitation and Care Center. This is really important to remember. Parkview Rehabilitation and Care Center at 2303 Park Avenue in Burley. The number to call is 677-3073. I don't know what else to tell you except that they've recently been awarded a 5-star rating from the government, the highest rating awarded to skilled nursing facilities. They provide medical nursing service for seniors with serious illnesses or disabilities 24 hours a day. Delivered by registered nurses, licensed practical nurses, and certified nurse aides. They really, really take care of their patients. They never forget that you are their valued guest and the reason that they're there. Please call them for more information. Parkview Rehabilitation and Care Center, 2303 Park Avenue in Burley. The number, write it down, 677-3073. Whoa, where in the world did I get all these dogs around here? I mean, holy smokes, I got, there's a dachshund over there that just tipped over the garbage. Look out for that St. Bernard. And here comes Officer Ken Moore with Minidoka Animal Control. Good morning, Ken. How are you?
Good morning, Zeb. I'm doing great. How are you?
Well, I'm anxious to hear what you've got for a featured dog this morning.
Well, this morning we are featuring Copper. He is a 2 to 3 year old German Shepherd Hound cross. He's tan and black. Great dog, very loving and friendly. Good on a leash, great with other dogs, loves everyone. He's a gentle giant. He was actually at large over near Pelican Point and at south of Rupert on the river. And, he's well-mannered. I had somebody come in and thought that it might have been their dog, but he wasn't. When I went to get him out of the kennel, he would not come out of the kennel until I told him he could come out.
Oh, my.
Then he stayed right by my side the entire time. I opened up the door, and you know how when you open up a door, dogs go running? Didn't have a leash on him. He stayed right there.
I was going to ask you something the other day, and I forgot. Do you know the percentages of the numbers of dogs or whatever that when people are traveling through an area, maybe they let the dog out of the car to do his or her thing, and they run off? I mean, I would imagine there's a lot of dogs that possibly have been, unfortunately, dropped off by people from out of state.
I don't have any kind of percentage on that. I get, in the 2.5 years that I've been doing this job, I've had probably 3, maybe 4 phone calls from people that were traveling through, had stopped someplace, their dog got away from them, and were trying to find it. That's all I've ever gotten in that amount of time. So, around here, it's probably higher, but, it's low of being contacted about it.
Okay. Now, what kind of a dog did you say this was?
He is a German Shepherd Hound cross.
German Shepherd Hound cross. Is it a big dog?
Yeah, he's a pretty good-sized dog. He's probably a good, I'd say close to 80 pounds.
But he's got some manners.
Oh, very well-mannered.
Mm-hmm.
You tell him to stay, and he'll stay right where he's at, and you can walk off and leave him, and then you can tell him to come, and then he'll come.
Oh, my goodness.
It's like he's had some obedience training.
All right. Now, what about it? How do people arrange for a meeting time with the dog?
All they've got to do is contact us at the facility at 438-2200, or they can contact me on my cell phone at 670-7268.
I had a lady call me, and she asked a good question. She said, I'm not looking for a dog right now, but she said maybe in the future. Does Mr. Mort, now you're Mr. Mort, does he find out somehow if the dogs are housebroken or whatever?
Actually, we do. When we've got them in the facility, a lot of times we'll be able to tell if they're housebroken or not by whether or not they actually have to make a mess in the kennel over the night.
I see.
And we've had several dogs that have come in there that will not make a mess in their kennel at all, and then we take them out on a leash in the morning, take them for a little walk, and they do their business, and they're good to go. So, I mean, that's how we find out that whether they've been house trained or not.
So really, you've got a cheat sheet on almost every dog so that you can pretty close tell the prospective new owner what is and what isn't.
Oh, yes. I mean, it's like we have clipboards on each one of the kennels that have dogs in them. And we run a daily roster and stuff in that of whether the dog had a bowel movement in the kennel, or if it actually had a bowel movement that day, what the bowel movement was like. I mean, what his temperament's been like.
I just love how you explain things on my program, so there's no questions as to what we're talking about.
But yeah, I mean, we've got a little checklist of stuff in that we've implemented over there in the last few months that actually helps us out getting a lot more information on the dogs.
Now, what are your hours over there that people will actually pick up the phone and people can come by and see these dogs?
The hours are Monday through Friday, 9 to 1. And then on Saturdays from 9 to 11.
Okay.
But if it's after those hours and I'm available, they can actually contact me on my cell phone, and I will more than willing to come in and give them, show them a dog or whatever. And if I'm not available, I've got a couple people that are willing to come over and do the same thing.
Now, you told me, I think it was either the last program or the program prior, that your rate of finding homes is almost unblemished.
Oh, yes. I mean, we've between the rescues that pull dogs, I mean, we send out dogs almost on a weekly basis. We've got, matter of fact, this Sunday we've got a transport showing up to pick up 3 dogs that are going to Washington State.
Wow.
And one of them has been in there since November. They finally were able to find him a home up in Washington State. He was Peanut, the one we featured was last week for the second time. But they actually were able to find him a fun-loving home. They got him neutered the other day, and he is leaving Sunday to go to his new home.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Fun-loving home and neutered in the same sentence, that's an oxymoron.
Well, they're not the ones that did it. We're the ones that did it. So he's got to be mad at us and not them.
Okay. Just thought I'd mention it. All right, Ken, tell us the number again real quick.
Okay, it's 438-2200 or 670-7268.
Officer Ken Mort, Minidoka Animal Control. God bless you, man. See you next week, okay?
God bless you too, Jeff.
Where'd all these dogs come from? Officer Ken Mort, Minidoka Animal Control. Dear friend of ours, thank you very, very much. Holy cow, it's Thursday, and that means we're going to get on the phone line and we're going to run over and visit with a lovely lady, and that's Rita Ramsey. Good morning, Rita. How are you?
Real good. How are you?
Well, needless to say, there is not a short list to talk about this morning. I've got a list as long as an 8.5 by 11 paper. The first thing I want to mention to you, and it's not an easy subject to talk about, but I think it needs to be discussed. Especially, I'd like to hear from your angle on this story, and that was the despicable, can't get any lower, we hope and pray, than what ISIS did to that Jordanian pilot. I just absolutely was stunned when I saw the video and learned about what they did.
You know, personally, when they were talking about the video, and I didn't go online and look at the whole thing, but when I was watching the news programs and they were showing pieces of it, I did the cowardly thing and I put my hand up in front of my face so that I could not see that and have it emblazoned into my mind. However, I've read a couple of articles recently that said, you know what, we probably need to see that and see how despicable that is so that we understand how horrible these people are and how evil they are and how they have got to be stopped.
Well, Rita, I'm glad you said what you just said, because here is my contention. I have said for a long time, and I'm not the only one by any means, but I have said for a long, long time that the 911 videos of showing the planes hitting the Twin Towers in New York and the following incidents that took place with people having to jump out of the towers, I said it should be shown every single day, because we as Americans should remember what these cowards did to hurt Americans and take innocent lives.
Well, I think you're absolutely right. And when we put our head in the sand or cover your face like I did, so I didn't actually see the physical thing. I mean, I listened to a blow-by-blow description of how it happened. Shepard Smith was pretty good at that. But we need to see this evil and know what it is. And even if it makes us wake up in the night with nightmares, we need to be reminded of what they're doing to people. And we're going to be we're already on their list. It's just a matter of time before they come here and start doing horrible things to us. So the only way we can fight it is if it's in the front of our mind and we're remembering what happened and how we can get rid of it and stop it. And by having it around the world where it's not my problem, I don't need to worry about it, let them fight it out. They're all, they're all over in that end of the world. Let them just fight amongst themselves, and whoever wins, then we'll end up just having to fight them instead of trying to get in the middle of it and doing something. But those people are evil, and if we would have stood up and started trying to eliminate them when we call them JV teams, we would have probably had a little bit better grip on what's going on, and it might have been stopped by now. I've heard them say that with the amount of bombings and stuff that we've actually just flown in there and dropped on them, it would equal out to about 12 a day since we started. And when we went into Iraq, they were doing between 300 and 400 a day. And that's the way that you take care of something like that, is a big bunch all at once. So these little token bombings that we're doing is not making a difference, and we can tell that. They're only becoming more emblazoned to do more and get worse, worse whatever is going on.
Well, I said on this program weeks and weeks ago that ISIS and other offshoots of that horrific terrorist group, whether it's Boko Haram or the Taliban or Al-Qaeda, doesn't make any difference. The only way that cancer can be cured is to get it caught early and either have it cut out or eradicated through some kind of treatment. This cancer is growing, and it's not growing just in one area. It's growing around the world, Australia, Japan, wherever it might be, United Kingdom, and here in the United States. We have no leadership. I'm going to come out and condemn Barack Obama this morning as the poorest, most inept, most cowardly leader that the United States has ever had, bar none. And here we see King Abdullah from Jordan standing up and basically taking the leadership role against ISIS. He is a former fighter pilot that I have heard this morning may even get back in an airplane and attack ISIS himself. Now, to me, that's leadership.
Well, it's really sad to think that the whole world is looking to us for some leadership, and all we're offering them is, no, I don't think we want to get involved in this one. It's not bad. Don't worry about it. It'll blow itself out. It'll burn out, and we don't have to worry about it. And that's the part that's really sad, is that they're looking to us for leadership, and we don't have anybody that will take the reins and lead. I mean, even our Congress and Senate should be just calling to high heaven. We've got to do something, and all of them band together and say, we're going to do it, whether you want to do it or not, President.
You know, there's another topic I wanted to get into this morning, and it just hit me while I was actually on the segment with Ken Mort with the Dog Nation. And it was in regards to jobs. You know, here we hear about all the refugees coming into this country. We hear about all the illegal aliens coming into this country and how the liberals want us to help find them jobs. Let me ask you this. Have you heard a concentrated effort by these same loudmouth liberals to get the vets jobs when they come home?
No, they don't care whether the vets have jobs. They don't care whether the people out there have jobs. Look how many people there are that are working in part-time jobs that really want full-time jobs. This Congress and Senate and our president could unleash jobs that would not quit if they would just do a few minor things in letting us use our natural resources, cutting a little bit of red tape, letting a little bit of this progress forward so that they can get things done. We need refineries. We need to start tapping our resources, our natural resources as far as oil and natural gas go. They could start letting the loggers go into the forest and take all of the old dead stuff out, which would save the forest from burning. I mean, it just wouldn't quit if they would just let us do it. But we have a fight on every single corner trying to do something, and meanwhile, people aren't working. And we're trying to find jobs for those that'll come in and welcoming all that want to come in, and we're going to find you jobs and give you all kinds of benefits and everything that we can give you, and our country and our citizens can just forget about it.
Yeah. We have a caller with a question. Quickly, caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Jeff.
Talk to me.
I've been watching this thing about the Nazis in Germany, and this history has been going back clear to before World War I, and then going all through the history of the Nazis and Adolf Hitler and stuff, and how Neville Chamberlain acted. And we got a Neville Chamberlain in the White House. It's not our problem. It's over there. We don't need to worry about it. That's just kind of an attitude.
I totally agree with you, caller, and that's another subject that I was going to talk to Rita about. The words, the phraseology, and the verbiage from this president leaves one just really scratching their head. Thank you for bringing that up, and we'll talk about that. Thank you. Rita, would you please respond to the caller, Rita, and then I want to elaborate on that a little bit.
Oh, I think he's absolutely right. And if you go back and look at history, and I've seen a couple of documentaries on the History Channel about Hitler and how he rose to power and how everybody just kind of kept, saying, oh, yeah, he's wonderful. He wants to do this and that and the other. But if you start looking at the things that he actually did, Obama's campaign book is Hitler's campaign book. I mean, the words forward and hope and change and all of them come right out of Hitler's book. And so this is the way that they're doing with this. Well, let's just ignore it like some of those people did, and we'll be able to go forward and do what we want to do. And we'll let somebody else take the blame by doing all the dirty stuff to start with, and then pretty soon we'll just... I think what it means is that our country is going to end up with our freedoms taken away from us because we have a big emergency that we have to take care of.
We have talked many times on this program in regards to Obama not wanting to use certain words and not say anything about radical Islam or Islamic terrorism or Muslim terrorism, whatever. He seems to be in a fishbowl more so now than ever before, even by some members of the liberal media. They seem to be coming after him because he is not calling it what it is. And this morning, if you listen to that speech he was giving, he, in the name of religion, he didn't mention Islam or Muslims. He said in the name of religion. And I was quite frankly offended by that because he lumped all religions together when he said in the name of religion. And I think this man is totally avoiding the cause of the problem, the root of the problem, and it's going to end up hurting us.
Well, he's afraid of what he says, that those people like the Muslim Brotherhood and maybe some of the Muslim people, more the radical people than just the regular people. But I think he's so afraid of saying something that they're going to come after him, or he'll be blamed for saying bad stuff, that he errs in making all the rest of us look bad. And it's like when you have a child that you can't deal with. You keep doing everything you can to appease them, and hey, don't do this, don't be mean, don't be ornery, can't you do this and that and the other, and then you just put restrictions on everybody that's just kind of going by the book, and you ignore them, and it just keeps getting worse because you're not doing anything. And then the people that you should be saying, you know what, I'm glad you're doing the right kind of thing, and let's keep doing it so that we can avert, further issues. you just ignore them too, and pretty soon you're in a no-win situation, and that's where he's at, because I think he tries to play, you know, the two ends against the middle, but I think he's more of a, I hope it gets bad so that everybody's at each other's throat instead of, you know what, we want to make this a better place.
I've got another caller, and I'm going to have to keep it brief because I've got to get a weather forecast on in just a moment. Caller, go ahead quickly. You're on the air.
Yes, and I'm not agreeing with Obama on this issue, but it wasn't just a few months ago that I was telling my wife we should just bring our men home, take them out of Iraq and Afghanistan. We have soldiers that are crippled here, trying to take care of them, and now people want to put our men into this fight. I'm not saying that we shouldn't help out. I think we should arm Israel to the teeth. We should be getting armed. We should be building our military instead of taking it down. And then the other thing is, when Afghanistan was taken hold, we allowed that brother of the president to go ahead and raise his dope and spread his dope around the world. There are some issues that need to be taken care of. Well, Obama's not the man to do it, and it just kind of irks me that people aren't thinking further in their face. If we put men on the ground over there, those other Muslims, they'll just sit back and they'll let us do it.
All right, I'm going to
have... We already had one of them pull out yesterday.
I'm going to have Rita respond to that because I'm up tight against the clock on the weather forecast. So, Rita, real quick, please. Thank you.
I think if you talk to military people, they would probably agree that the best strategy is to put some special forces into doing intelligence gathering, decide what needs to be done, and then arm the other countries to the hilt, their air forces, and that type of thing, so that they can go and fight these people. They just don't have the intelligence and stuff like that they need, as well as the money, and I think that would be plenty that we could do, and it would make a huge difference without ever putting our men on or any of our soldiers on the ground.
It needs to be said, and I'll say it here. There is absolutely no excuse, and I cannot think of one, nor will I accept one from anyone else. There is no excuse as to why fighter planes, ammunition, and money is not going by shipload to Jordan this morning to help them eradicate ISIS. They are on the move against ISIS. ISIS only has 40,000 people in a concentrated area, and we, along with others, should use that as a nucleus of power to eradicate this vermin once and for all. Would you agree?
Oh, I don't think there's any question about it. There's no way that if they would let their, if the Obama would let the military go over and just totally destroy them, it would be shock and awe that you've never seen before, and be done with it.
Rita, I've got to get a weather forecast in here real quick, so stay by the phone. I'll be right with you. I want to remind everybody about urgent care, Riverview Urgent Care in Burley, and they're located at 382 North Overland in Burley. Minor emergencies, major care. They will see you today. Don't forget, at Riverview Urgent Care, they take the time and the care, specializing in minor emergencies and major care. They want to make sure you're feeling good, so give them a call today at 678-6996. Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center. And the number again, 678-6996. Here now, Michael Rogers weather.
Hi, everybody. Michael Rogers for Zeb at the Ranch. Right now, your temperatures are going to be in the 50s all the way through Monday. You got a break today and tonight and Friday. You're going to see rain on Friday night, Saturday night. Get a break on Sunday. Pick back up on Sunday night. So what you got is a mess. It's going to take you pretty much through the weekend. Highs today 56, overnight low 44. Friday more the same. You're going to stay in the 50s with this warm, moist flow that's coming off the Pacific. I called it yesterday the Pineapple Express. So enjoy the weather, Shirley. What do you got?
Thank you, Michael. Hey, nobody wants to be sick on Valentine's Day. Riverview Urgent Care is open 9 to 9 Monday through Saturday and 9 to 3 Sundays. They're even going to be open on Valentine's Day. Don't forget Riverview Urgent Care and Medical Center, 382 North Overland in Burley, 678-6996. Rita, I want to shift gears a little bit about money. Money that is being wasted, money that is being literally flushed down the toilet, and this president doesn't seem to care. He wants to spend, spend, spend. Those are the words he used when he turned his budget in. And a lot of people don't realize this repulsive president has allocated 50 billion with a B dollars to go back into a defunct green energy program like the Solyndras that have been losing millions and millions and millions of dollars, totaling into the billions, and he wants to do it all over again with a refurbishment of $50 billion.
It's absolutely ridiculous, and our Senate and Congress should absolutely put on the brakes and say absolutely not until you can prove that this is going to be a win-win situation. Solar costs too much money, or it's propped up to costing too much to pay for itself.
That's right.
And that's why they won't do it. And there are certain parts of the country, Idaho being one of them, that generally does not have enough sun days to make it so that it can be used. The solar panels and stuff can be used down in Las Vegas and Phoenix and South Florida and some places like that for water heaters, but it just does not ever pan out enough. They're wasting money. It's just like the big windmill things. They're trying to do that too. Those windmills cost $1 million a piece. The amount of electricity that they generate, the revenue never comes forward for it to pay for itself. They supposedly have a 10-year lifetime is all, and they won't pay for themselves, and yet we're just dumping that money into a hole and wondering why we're in debt so bad. You'd think that the Senate and Congress would put the brakes on it and say, absolutely not. We're not going to do that right now. We're going to invest money in our infrastructure. We're going to do roads and bridges and everything else and show them we know how to do that before we ask for any more money, including the fuel tax.
Absolutely. We have a caller with a question. I'm short on time. Good morning, caller. Go, please.
Yeah, Zeb, I think we need to put boots on the ground and leave them there just so they don't reoccur. That's my take on it.
All right. Well, I'll have Rita respond to that, and then I'm going to respond. Go ahead, Rita, please.
Well, actually, I think that might be a good idea, but my big thing with boots on the ground any place is they have such bad rules of engagement that they have their hands tied and they can't do anything. And I say if they're going to do that, there's no sense in letting our guys go over there other than just doing intel and, like special ops going in and determining what needs to be done and then getting your planes that can drop the bombs that... You know how they can find the one person in that little teeny tiny shack out on the desert and just totally take him out? That's what they need to do, is just start taking out all of those places, but they've got to have somebody with some intel that says where it needs to be done and then just go crazy with it.
I have a tendency to agree with Fred on this, though, Rita, because this problem that we're in now and the severity of the problem that's been increased now is all on account of the evacuation program that this president employed.
Well, I think I think that you're right. I'm no expert on the military, but I hear a lot of military people saying, you know what, it could be done if they would just let us go in and do our thing and be done.
I totally agree with you. There's no way to go and tell our boys and our women in the armed forces, here, you go fight, but remember, you have to be shot at first, and you're basically going to be fighting with one arm tied behind you.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, we have a caller, and I've only got 2 minutes left. Caller, real fast. Go.
Okay, what if Jordan and Israel, which have a peace agreement right now, what if they were to team up together and for their mutual benefit, because they share a border and they share the West Bank territory, and if Israel and Jordan were to ally and take actions against ISIS, and to attack them in Syria, and maybe not Iraq, but at least attack them in Syria. It seems to me like that would be a good solution, because Jordan and Israel share a common interest that that is very critical.
Well, a lot of people don't remember that when it came to that peace accord that was signed over in the Middle East years ago, Jordan was one of the very few that did sign in favor of Israel. So there is a bond there. There is somewhat of an ally situation there. And I agree with you that we, as behalf of the United States, should be funding and developing any kind of help that we can form for an alliance with those two countries, and basically let them off the chain and tell them to go get them.
So yeah, I think Jordan, they don't like their radicals. They have radical tribes too that align with Hamas and the other radical Palestinians, so to speak. So I think that it would be a strong alliance, and Jordan is a Western. At least the king of Jordan is a Western-directed person.
I agree. I hate to cut you off because you're a very interesting young man, but I'm running late, and I appreciate your call. God bless you, man. Thanks so much. Rita, I've only got about 30 seconds left. Real quick, what's going on with the Tea Party?
We'll have our meeting a week from today, and we are going to have a report from the legislature, and then we're also going to be talking about the school bond. So next Thursday night at 7 o'clock at the City of Burley. We'd like to invite anybody who would like to learn something to come.
All right, Rita Ramsey, always a great conversation. God's blessings to you. Thank you so much for your time this morning, and I'll look forward to next Thursday.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I love that lady. She's sharp. Oh, my. Look at the clock. I got to get right into this, and I don't mind at all because I'm hungry. I'm hungry, and I'm starving to death. And I know some great places to go. How about Taco Bandito? 2301 Overland Avenue in Burley. Did you know that Kip and his wife celebrated their anniversary a couple of days ago? 19 years. Why don't you go into Taco Bandito and say, happy anniversary? You better believe it. And then sit down and have a southern baked burrito, either soft shell or grilled shell, and with chicken or steak made special, just the way Kip knows how. Oh, it's good. It's good. Or maybe a taco salad burrito, everything at Taco Bandito, 2301 Overland in Burley. Or we can go on over to Burgers, etc. 2 locations, one at 124 South Oneida in Rupert, and the other at 700 North Overland in Burley. Oh, they've got corn dogs, only 99 cents right after 3 p.m. And don't forget, too, they've got the delicious soups, and they've got all kinds of the delicious burgers, and bacon burgers, and cheeseburgers. And every Sunday, the shrimp dinner special at the Burley location. Oh, you're gonna love Burgers, etc. in Rupert and Burley. Let's not forget Steve-O's. I'm drooling. 290 South, 600 West of Hayburn. Food made the way you like it. Oh, they've got a kids menu that is fantastic. And boy, I love to get the steak sandwiches. And how about the pork chops with salad and choice of potatoes? Friendly people at Steve-O's. And believe me, you're going to love the menu. I guarantee it. Steve-O's, 290 South, 600 West of Hayburn. Food made the way you like it. And let's not forget also our friends at the AC Drive-In, 601 East Main in Burley. Holy cow, you love those famous Farmer Brown burgers with the fries and the special sauce. And how about a great big milkshake with your favorite flavor? They can make any milkshake. Oh my goodness, yes. And the ranch burgers and all the kids' baskets. Oh, they've got everything there. Everything. It's delicious. The AC Drive-In, known for their milkshakes and everything else, at 601 East Main in Burley. And those are just a few great places to go when you're hungry and starving to death. And the lady that's sitting about 35 miles away from me has probably got tooth marks on the microphone waiting for the break coming up in an hour so she can go out and buy about a whole bag full of food, right?
Yeah, I'm starving.
You know what we ought to do? We ought to have you somehow. We need to do this broadcast so that we can do it together, and we'll sit in the same room, you and me and Deanne, and we'll have all kinds of food catered in from these different sponsors that we have as kind of sample plates. How does that sound?
That sounds great. I can make that happen.
You can?
Oh, yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's called Technology and a Mobile Studio.
Let's do it.
Okay.
We'll do a mobile broadcast, and what we ought to do is plan the day, and we'll do the program mobily around that area, and we'll stop in and get like little sample platters from each one.
Okay. Well, we need to do it from like one location because I can't really be driving the... once I'm set up, I'm set up.
Well, they'll come to us.
That's right.
I love it.
Okay.
Let's do that.
I think it sounds great.
Book it, Dano.
Okay.
Okay.
Deanne.
Okay, I'll be back in 6. Oh, here we go. Hour number 3 on a Thursday, Zeb at the Ranch. Good morning to you. I'm Zeb Bell, and our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations. And don't forget, too, some of our great advertisers like Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. We are going to have our guest on in just a few minutes, but right now I'd like to remind you, too, the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Now, listen to this special for today, and this is all the more reason why I just absolutely wished I was about 20 miles closer right now to the Chadwick Sports Grill. They're going to have delicious, absolutely fantastic Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. Oh, does that sound good? With choice of potato, veggies, and super salad. Philly cheesesteak egg rolls. Oh, go in and have some for me. Oh, my goodness, that sounds good. Great menu items, great specials at the Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Wow, great food. Oh, my. And in just a few minutes, we're going to have our guest on for Cache County School Days. But I also want to remind you that Valentine's Day is coming up in just a very, very few days. And I know some places where you can go and get something special for your lovey. How about the bookstore at 515 5th Street in Rupert? Oh, my goodness. Caramel-filled chocolate hearts. Oh, wow. They got them in the large or the small size, and they've got all the little fudge-dipped cinnamon bears. Jewelry, Valentine's Day cards, all kinds of items. Oh, my, you'd better get over there, the bookstore. 515 5th Street in Rupert. Whew, that sounds good. You stop in today. You know what else? Dreams Day Spa and Salon. Oh, my goodness sakes. How about giving that special lady a permanent and makeup over and all the eyebrows and the eyeliner and complimentary facial included? Call Carol at Dreams Day Spa. What, they've got all kinds of great items. Full-service salon and spa, and you can get a gift certificate and say to your loved one, hey, just go in and enjoy. Massages and facials, all kinds of items at Dreams Day Spa and Salon, 123 East 23rd Drive in Burley. Number to call, 878-4640. Oh, my. Let's see what else have we got cooking here this morning. I wanted to talk just a moment, and here's a happy anniversary. We've got a happy anniversary that we've got to send out to Paul and Ellen Peterson. Their anniversary is today, and we wish them the very, very best. Coming up at the end of this month on February 28th, don't forget the great big Minicash Lincoln Day Luncheon, which will be held at Maury's Steakhouse in Burley. The meet and greet is going to start at 12 noon and the lunch at 1 p.m. And I believe the tickets will be available at the door. So you can call our dear friends Bert and Elaine Stevenson, and our state legislators are going to be there. I'm hoping that possibly Governor Otter and others will be coming in. So that's going to be a really, really good Minicash Lincoln Day Luncheon at Maury's Steakhouse on February 28th, starting at noon with a meet and greet. where we glad hand and shake hands and say, howdy, how you doing, and everything else. And then 1 o'clock they're going to eat, okay? Put that on your calendar. Right now, let's go to the phone lines as it's time for the Cassia County School Days. And Cassia County School Days is brought to you by two wonderful organizations. One, A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, and the other, Ambulatory Surgery Center. Let's first of all talk about A Child's World in Burley. They've got a baby registry with discount enclosure cards. They've got everything for the babies. And don't forget, too, if you wear scrubs, and they're really, really comfortable. A Child's World carries Cherokee and Dickey scrubs, and just a family store with games and puzzles, everything at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. Wish the dog would be quiet. And then, of course, don't forget Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland Drive in Burley, and they now have Dr. Michael Coughlin, well-known, well-established foot surgeon in the Northwest, and he's going to be seeing patients at the Ambulatory Surgery Center starting tomorrow, February 6th. So be sure and call them at 677-8888. And we say thank you to both the Ambulatory Surgery Center and, of course, A Child's World for being here on the program this morning. Hey, Heath, how you doing? I'm sorry I can't visit with you right now, buddy, but I appreciate you coming out. Thank you. Deanne, take care of that young man, would you please? And right now, let's go to the phone lines as we have with us Curtis Richens is on the phone, and he is the Tech Center principal in Burley. Good morning, Curtis. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic today, Zeb. How are you doing?
I am fantastic, and I understand that you're going to be talking about your robotics program. Is that correct?
Yes, I actually am going to do that. We have had our robotics program in existence for about 3 years, so we're just kind of in the infancy. And in those 3 years, these kids have done just a wonderful, wonderful job. They've entered competitions and are doing very, very well.
You know, I know absolutely next to nothing about robotics, and I'm going to probably be very naive with some of my questions I ask you. But when you look at robotics and the programs and the learning about how to build different things like this, why? Why should there be such an input and interest into a program on robotics?
Well, robotics is pretty much every facet of every industry that we have out there. We've got High Desert Milk. They use a few of their robots and a few of their mechanical and electrical type of circuit boards to do their, to maintain and to run their equipment. It's very interesting how just the mathematics that these kids have to do to operate the robots that they're building and the computer program. It's just amazing what they're doing.
Let me ask you a couple of questions here regarding at the Super Bowl, Katy Perry came in riding what appeared to be a robotic tiger or lion. And I don't like Katy Perry. I don't like her music, and I didn't really get thrilled and do handsprings for her being at the Super Bowl. But explain a little bit about what they did in that situation with robotics.
I'm probably going to get thrown off the air, but I didn't watch the Super Bowl. But I can imagine that they had to, of course, they had to design it. They had to figure out, okay, what's it going to look like? And what's more, what's the functionality going to be, and how are we going to make this happen? And not only do they have to do the mechanics of it, but it's all computer controlled, and it's either a remote control type of thing or a pre-computer program on there. And so it's quite interesting and quite in-depth to what goes into building just a simple little robot.
Are most people probably not suited to get into a robotics program? What kind of an individual does it take to really learn, study, and be proficient in learning something like this?
It takes somebody that is curious, somebody that, of course, the mechanical aptitude, but that's one of those things that can be taught. Very analytical with the mathematics and the programming involved. However, that can be taught also. So our programs open up to anybody that has an interest at all. And what we've found that some of these kids going into our robotics and electronics program, they're just, I just want to see what it's like. It's cool. I like playing with my cell phone, and pretty soon They're actually using their cell phone to start their cars, and they're using their cell phones for motion detectors and things like that. That's what they're learning in this electronics and this robotics program.
Is there a worry? Now, Curtis, I look at both sides of the spectrum here, and don't be offended by this, but is there a worry, not only in this country but worldwide, that robots, or robotics, if you will, are going to be replacing a lot of the jobs currently held by human beings and cause more of a depletion of the workforce?
I don't feel that there is. There's going to be, of course, the robots have been around since the 50s and 60s and 70s in manufacturing, and especially in manufacturing and that type of thing. But I don't believe that robots are going to take over the workplace and make it so we don't have jobs for our people. The robots have to be maintained, they have to be programmed, and that type of thing. I don't think there's that big of a worry that somebody's going to lose their job to a robot. What
about the automobile industry, though? I mean, hasn't the automobile industry really employed the use of robots to not only take away the human factor, but also for speed and efficiency?
Well, for speed and efficiency, and for there's no sick days for the robots and that type of thing. There's scheduled maintenance, that type of thing. But as far as taking over jobs for unskilled labor, I think those jobs are going to be moved. I don't think they're going to be replaced. I think they're going to be moved to different sectors.
Now, how did you learn so much about this subject to become basically the head cheese with the robotics? I mean, that must have taken a lot of study on your part.
I actually defer very much to our program instructor. His name is Daniel Brown. He's very good with robots. I get to be the one that goes on the radio and gets to be the cheerleader and gets the pats on the back, but I'm not the one doing the work. Our electronics instructor and the kids are the ones to be commended. We have a particular type of equipment that they use is called VEX equipment. It's just the manufacturer of the equipment they use, and there are these VEX competitions worldwide. And just a couple of months ago, during a faculty meeting I've had with my staff here, Daniel, the instructor, says, "Hey, I got to show you this website," and it was a website of the robotics teams competition worldwide. And he said there are 10,000 of these teams worldwide. And at that time, one of the teams here at the Tech Center was ranked number 9th in the world.
You're kidding me.
No, I'm not. And since then, because they've been limited a little bit on travel funds and things like that, they haven't been able to go to as many competitions as they would like. And so that same team has dropped to about 26th in the world. And in fact, one of the students was in my office the other day, and we were just chatting, and I asked him how things were going, and he says, "You know what?" And I said, "What's that?" And he said, "We're going to join two of our teams together, and we're going to break the world record for the number of points scored in a competition."
Okay, now let's break this down and do it quickly because I'm at a lack of time. How do they score competitions? How do they devise competitions? How are they judged? Give me a quick synopsis.
Just a real quick synopsis. They have a set standard or set activities that they have to do, and the robots have to meet certain criteria, and they just compete against each other. We are having one, actually. Our electronics company, our electronics program is hosting a competition here at the CSI gym on February 14th. They're calling it the iHeart Robots competition. So, those competitions, it's got all-day thing. The qualification rounds start at 9:30. The elimination rounds start at 1:30. And anybody is invited to come and watch. And they're very, very interesting.
You know, I would imagine, and please temper my words and tell me if I'm right or wrong, but when you get into a program like this and you start playing with things that are basically unheard of or unthought of, the sky's the limit, isn't it?
Oh, very much so. They're working on a self-guided car with motion detectors and that type of thing. And these are high school kids. These aren't college kids. These are high school kids that are putting this car together and working things out that way. They're putting all sorts of ideas together. These kids are just phenomenal what that they can dream up and then make happen.
My biggest fear sitting here talking to you, Richard, is that all of a sudden, Curtis, you're going to call me back and say that they've just developed a 3-hour talk show host.
Maybe so, and if they do, then Zeb, you can come over and you can do something different for us over here. So, anyway, I don't think you're going to be replaced. I don't think you need to worry.
Let me ask you this, though. I mean, you must be very, very proud that you're the Tech Center principal. You must be very proud of the achievements and everything. But what stimulates this growth? What stimulates this interest in this area? We're from a very highly concentrated ag industry area and not really Silicon Valley.
You know, what's interesting about that is even in little old Burley, Idaho, and in the Meridian area, we have our children are very curious about things, and it's a good thing that we all like different ideas and different subjects. We've got all of our programs, the healthcare program, the residential construction, the automated manufacturing, the graphics, the information tech, the auto tech, the architectural drafting. All of our programs have just wonderful, top-notch, intelligent kids, and kids that are willing to work and willing to get the job done and learn. And we are in the process now of putting things together, so hopefully next year we can get approval from the state to start a diesel tech program for heavy equipment too. So things are just moving quickly around here, and these kids are the ones that are driving it. We're giving programs that the kids want to study and they want to learn, and programs that the local industry around here needs.
Let me ask you real quick, and it goes back to what I said about things that are way out in the la-la land. What's the most weird thing that you've heard one of these students say they'd like to try to build?
I don't know if weird is the correct word to use. I believe interesting might be a better word. And we are in the process, some of the kids are in the process of designing and building this remote controlled car, if you will, that is just amazing. And we've got our electronics students are working with our automated manufacturing students to get the steering wheel and the drive and the transmission and everything else all remote controlled. It's very, very interesting.
Oh, my goodness. Curtis Richens, you got to promise me to come back and tell us more about that. I am not a high-tech science guy, but I've got a lot of respect for the people that can do this type of thing, and it's interesting. Come back and tell us more in the future, would you please?
Oh, I certainly will. And Zeb, if you would like to take a tour of the facility, come on over and we'll do that for you.
Don't you forget that, because I'll probably give you a call, as long as they don't try to clone me with a robot.
I think you're one of a kind, Zeb, aren't you?
Well stated. Curtis Richens, Tech Center Principal. Thank you so much talking about robotics. God bless. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir. You too.
Thank you. That was interesting. And on Thursdays, we try to get into various segments, and they're very proud of their robotics program over there. And they said that they competed in international competition, like he was saying, and they even beat out China in one event and finished like 9th in the world. Holy buckets. We got to have a little commercial break. And no, we don't need a commercial break. I'll just quickly tell you this before we go to our next guest, Mandy over at Valleywide. I want to tell you the Chili Championship is going to be at Magic Valley Tire in Paul on Valentine's Day, Saturday, February 14th. And oh my goodness, Mad Max has laid down the gauntlet. He has said that there's never been a chili that's hit his lips that has been too hot. Well, somebody out there in Radioland better come up with a chili that will just absolutely cross his eyes and make smoke come out of his ears. So they're going to have the judging on the chilies at 10:30 in the morning on the 14th, and they're going to give away 3 prizes to the top chilies. And then at 11 o'clock, they're going to start the free feed for you and your family to go in there and have chili and cinnamon rolls and everything. It's going to be fantastic at Magic Valley Tire on Saturday, February 14th. Don't you miss it. If you want to enter your chili, be sure and call Amber at 438-8444. Let's go on the phone lines right now, and I believe we're all set to go with Mandy over at Valleywide. Good morning, Mandy.
Well, good morning.
How are you?
Oh, feeling a little under the weather, but doing all right.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, just think you're getting all this sickness and everything out of the way so you can be all lovey-dovey on Valentine's Day, and you got specials over there for the lovebirds. Tell us what's going on at Valleywide.
We have all kinds of bird feeders, bird houses, and bird food on sale this week. So come on in and we'll get you set up to feed the birds in your area.
Well, now, along with the bird feeders and all those lovebirds and everything, you've got a special that they can sign up for, and somebody's going to win kind of a romantic passion night-filled fun. Tell us about it.
We do. We have a 2-night stay over at the Best Western in Burley, and then there's 2 options that they can go along with that. They can either get a drink there at the Spud Cellar or a dessert there in Perkins. So that is one. And then we also have a dinner for 2 at the Upper Crust is what it is.
Oh, my goodness sakes. That sounds like a lovey-dovey lovebird passion night. And all they have to do is stop by and register, right?
Absolutely. We'll have a sign here at the front desk. Come on in and get registered, and we'll put your name in the drawing.
Oh, my goodness sakes. And then tell us a little bit about the big lovebird sale going on. You got clothing and jewelry and Western boots. I understand they're what, 25% off?
They are. They're all 25% off. We got some new items here in the store. We got new Montana silver in. We got some new clothing in. And we just got restocked up on some boots. So come on in and get your discount.
And nobody knows more about what's going on than Mandy. I mean, she's always standing there with a big smile on her face, and especially during the Lovebird sale at 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Anything else you want to tell us about what's going on this month of February?
We are busy really actually getting ready for 4-H season, so be waiting for that. We'll have some sales coming up to help the kids come up with 4-H items.
You know, when you say that, you've literally got everything for the livestock needs over there, whatever the project, right?
Absolutely. We are here for the kids. We'll either, if we don't have it here in stock, we'll definitely get it ordered for you.
Okay, and the saddle and tack department and the bridles and everything, you've got just about everything they need. A lot of ropes, too, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well, Mandy, I hope you feel better because we got to get you all set to pucker up on Valentine's Day.
That's right. I didn't have a voice this morning, and everybody was giving me a hard time about how quiet it is around here.
Well, I can't imagine. Hey, thanks so much for being on the program with us. Valleywide Home and Ranch.
Okay.
God bless you. Thank you so much. That is a really, really nice gal. I like her. Mandy over at Valleywide Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert. Number to call, 436-0141. Sean and Mandy, the whole crew. Valentine's Lovebird sale going on right now. Now, in just a few minutes, we are going to have one of my favorite guests on this program, and believe me, she has got a lot of information to share with us about what's going on with Sharia law in the world and also what they're trying to impose in this country. And we're going to have Joy on the phone with us, Joy Brighton. She's an author of Shariaism is Here. And we're going to be talking about a lot of the problems with homegrown terrorism right here in this United States. And it all coincides and kind of dovetails into a segment that we had a couple of days ago with Martin Moyer back east when he was talking about his book, Twilight in America, with all the over 30 terrorist camps that are right here in this United States of America. And they're learning on our soil how to overthrow and kill us. So we're going to have Joy Brighton on the air in just a very few minutes. Once again, Minicash and Lincoln Day Banquet Luncheon going to be held Saturday, February 28th at Maury's Steakhouse in Burley. Meet and greet starts at 12 noon and lunch at 1. Everybody try to be there. Right now I'm going to send it back over to our main studios. I'll be back in 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you very much and welcome back to our last half hour on a Thursday. Zeb at the Ranch, and I'm Zeb Bell. Thank you very much. We are blessed to have this lady come back on our program. I've had a couple of previous conversations with her, and She is outstanding and a great author of the book called Shariaism Here. And Joy Brighton, good morning to you. How are you?
Hold on a second. I'm getting her all set up.
Okay, well, we'll just hang on as a little bit of technical difficulty right there. And once again, waiting for the green light. And Joy Brighton, author, as I said, of Shariaism Here in America. Good morning, Joy. How are you?
Morning, Deb. How are you? I'm having a hard time hearing you, Deb.
I'll see if the engineer can't turn it up a little bit in your headsets. And I just want to say thank you very much for being with us this morning. I don't even know where to start, Joy, because the events recently with ISIS, Al-Qaeda, the Taliban, I'm getting really nervous with the lack of leadership in this country, total lack of leadership with the Obama administration. How concerned are you that the bad guys are spreading like a cancer all over the world?
I'm very concerned. I'm very concerned, as you are concerned. And what concerns me is our strategy, which our strategy has always been reactive. Boko Haram, let's do something over there. Taliban, let's do something over there. ISIS, let's do something over there. While the responsibility of the President of the United States is to protect Americans, and that is what he is not doing. Because by going over there and distracting ourselves over there, and maybe we need to do something over there, what we really need to be doing is focusing over here. Because while we all focus on ISIS over there, the root problem, which is the Muslim Brotherhood, continues to grow quietly here. We continue to see more and more religious discrimination lawsuits. We're seeing, the Council of American Islamic Relations and some other Muslim Brotherhood front groups that have been named by the Emirates as of November 2014 continue to be welcomed by the White House, who refuses to believe that the Muslim Brotherhood is the same organization, is basically the heart and brain of what we're seeing over in the Middle East. I think that the world is waking up and realizing, and our government is also, that we have a global problem. However, we've got to understand that we cannot commit all our resources over there. We've got to protect America, and that means doing things that are very unpopular, in my opinion.
Joy,
I think you can probably guess some of those tactics that I'm about to say.
Well, I can, and I want to get into that, but I read a story just here in the last couple of days that really opened my eyes as to our nation's naivete. By inviting these refugees into this country, we don't know their backgrounds, we don't know anything about them, and a lot of these people, they have been estimating, are and have affiliations and backgrounds with Al-Qaeda, the Taliban, Boko Haram, and also ISIS. Is there a screening process that we're not going through?
There is no screening process. There is no screening process. Listen, what's happening is, and I don't know if it's the story, here's a story that explains it all. About 2 days ago, I believe, in Seattle, there was a group of Somali Muslim immigrants who have been in Seattle for a while, who protested vigorously that a teacher in one of their schools, in a high school, in a lesson of freedom of speech and plurality, talked about the Charlie Hebdo cartoons in the context of freedom of speech. There was an outrage by this community. They were carrying signs that we have there's the freedom to speech, but not the freedom to offend. And this woman was fired from a high school. Okay, so here it is. That is Charlie Hebdo in our own country without the violence. But the next step will be violence. And the school, by the way, was also shut down. Why? Because there were threats of violence, and they couldn't protect the students. So there you have Charlie Hebdo on our soil in Seattle. And there's pockets like this all over the country.
When you say there's pockets like this all over the country, I have also heard that there are terrorist camps that have been set up in upper state New York, over in Oregon, down in Texas, all over the United States on our soil. And when you ask senators and congressmen about it, they seem to be as dumb as a post. They don't know anything, or they won't let on that they do know anything. This naive attitude is going to kill us.
There's this idea that this sounds all too ridiculous to believe. And what I say to people is, would you have believed someone on September 10th, 2001, if they told you that the next day 2 trade towers would come tumbling down? No. What we're dealing with is unbelievable. It is hard to wrap your head around. However, we have leaders whose job is to look at the facts and take charge here, and that's what has to happen. And what I say when I talk to people like the audience who's listening today is, you can't rely on our government. We can no longer rely on our government. We can protect ourselves, and we can change this. We literally have got to protest in the streets. We've got to bombard our congressmen and everybody else with, we need to ban the Muslim Brotherhood, just as Dubai and Abu Dhabi did November. We have got to stop the radicalization in our U.S. prison system. Remember the Oklahoma guy who beheaded his coworker and the guy who took an axe to an NYPD rookie. That's just 2 examples. Both of these men converted to radical Islam in prison. We know that there's about 35,000 to 40,000 men, mostly men, being released from prison year in and year out who have converted to radical Islam in prison. And no one wants to believe this. So the way it's going to be believed is if we the people, have got to get out there any way we can, write letters to the editors, protest in the streets, whatever. We have to start what I'm going to call a peaceful revolution.
Let me ask you this, and it's happened even here locally in our own newspaper. There's been this love fest for the Muslims, and there's been a condemnation of people like me that are trying to show the shortcomings of the Muslim faith and also the radical Islam in our country. What do we do to really show that we're not being Islamic phobia, but we're trying to create a real picture of what's actually going on?
What do? I think that we say that that we've got to, here's what I say. I say, hell no, I am not a Sharia phobe. Okay? I'm not sexist, I'm not racist, I'm not Islamophobic, I'm not homophobic. I am a Sharia phobe. I am scared to death of Shariaism, the political movement of radical Islam, because it is sexist. Mm-hmm. It is racist. It doesn't respect children. It doesn't respect women's rights. I think the first thing we have to do is just change the way we're talking about this. And we have to attack this Islamophobia campaign, which was drummed up by the Muslim Brotherhood, which is an excellent campaign.
Right.
And we've got to turn it on its head. And that's the way to separate. That, I believe, that is the way, at least, to start to separate the moderate Muslims from what we're dealing with. Anything related to Sharia, which means that you want your way of life to be my way of life, that's where we draw the line.
Let me ask you this, and then we've got a caller. What about Sharia itself? When we come back after this call, if you could kind of give us a thumbnail sketch as to what it means exactly and the imposition of Sharia law in this country. But first of all, let's take this call. Good morning, caller. Quickly, you're on the air. Talk to me, caller, quickly.
Yes, I would like to sound off on this. I think we need to reinstitute the law of the West, and everybody just shoot everybody that doesn't look at them straight.
Now, you're not serious with that kind of a remark, are you? Well, he's gone. Those kind of calls are absolutely ludicrous, and I'm sorry that we took that call. Joy, let's go back to what I asked just a minute ago about what is Sharia, the imposition of what they want to do in this country, and on a scale of 1 to 10, how advanced are they?
Okay. Well, before I start, what I don't want to do is freak everybody out. Okay, I do believe that we have the ability to conquer this and to steer the boat in the right direction. But we all have to do it right now. So what is Sharia? Sharia are a set of rules. Don't call them laws. They're a set of rules. They were created by Muhammad years after he died by a bunch of power-hungry men who wanted to say, let's control the world. How can we do this? And those rules were written down. Now, I'm not about the Quran, and I'm not about books. There's all kinds of crazy rules in the Bible, Torah, and everything else. But that was where it started from. And Sharia, the rules of Sharia are meant to control, not to protect. When we think of laws in our country, we think of laws to protect. When you think of Sharia, you have to think of control. So, and the bad guys have the fundamental, there are some laws in Sharia that are pretty, harmless. Like, I want to pray 5 times a day to Allah. If you want to pray 5 times a day to Allah, that is certainly your right under religious freedom, and you can do that. However, if you want me, or you, or anybody who's listening to pray 5 times a day to Allah, that is crossing the line. That is Shariaism. That is a political movement of radical Islam that's justifying its control based on some Sharia Islamic law. In this, we have religious freedom, but that means that you as a person can choose the way that you can make choices that impact you and only you. You cannot force people to do other things. You cannot force people to live the life that you want them to live. Mm-hmm. That is where we're crossing the line, and I'll tell you where we're seeing it. We're seeing it in all these religious discrimination lawsuits that are happening around the country. I can tell you that in 2010, because these statistics are very, very hard to come by, but I can tell you that in 2010, there were about 1% of the population in this country, a little bit more than that, were Muslims. Okay, 25% of the religious discrimination lawsuits launched in this country were by Muslims. And specifically, the majority of them are by a group called Council of American Islamic Relations, which is a Muslim Brotherhood front group, which has been named by Dubai and Abu Dhabi in November 2014 as a Muslim Brotherhood front group. You see, the Muslim Brotherhood works 2 different ways. There's a violent top-down approach, which is what we see when we see ISIS. And then there's a bottom-up approach, which is much more strategic and basically uses our way of life against us. So they shout freedom of speech, but hate speech is not allowed. And by hate speech, they mean you cannot slander the Prophet. In this country, political free speech is ugly. The debates on gay marriage, the debates on slavery way back when, the debates on Obamacare. These are ugly, ugly debates, ugly words. And you know what? That's the way this country moves forward. We move forward with words, and they may be ugly, but we don't change social structure. We don't change things by throwing rocks at each other and crucifying each other and beheading each other. That's where we cross the line. So political speech is the dirtiest political speech is so important because the next step is violence. And that, as a society, is where we draw the line. And they want to start saying, no, you can't criticize everything. Think about communism. Think about Nazism. It's very, very similar to Shariaism. The goal is global domination. And the way that these people did it, the most important tactic is to silence debate. Because when you silence debate, remember communism, neighbors were telling on each other for fear of being hauled off in the middle of the night. When you silence debate and you leave people in a place where they really don't know the facts, and there's no dissent, and there's no criticism, then suddenly anything that's said becomes the truth.
Right.
And this is what's very, very dangerous.
Let me ask you this last question. I'm almost out of time, Joy, but what about the recruitment factor? What about employing the thoughts and minds of young people to get involved with ISIS or Al-Qaeda? How do they go about a sale to get them involved in such a heinous organization?
I have someone is about to send me one of these videos that she received, but what she described to me was, it's kind of like a video that talks about Muslim pride. Mm-hmm. Remember Black Power pride and these kind of things. It appeals to these kids who want to be part of something, who feel like they have an obligation to change the world, who want to be important, who want to do something that's fighting for freedom, which is how it's described to them. But again, I think it's so important to look at the numbers, okay? About 300 people, we don't even know, have joined ISIS, and obviously there is a recruiting pattern, there is a recruiting pipeline that's going on here. But the biggest pipeline of radicalization in this country is happening in our own prison system. That is where it's happening. And the biggest pipeline is also bringing these immigrants over. Because the first thing that happens with Somali immigrants or Pakistani immigrants is the mosques open their doors and say, okay, now that you're in America, let us tell you that America is racist. America doesn't really want you here. And they get these immigrants who really don't understand what America's about to agitate for their rights, to agitate for special accommodations, and to make them very, very angry against America. I was talking to a cab driver just recently, and he talked about the fact that there are Arab mosques, Pakistani mosques, and Somali mosques. And he said, and I said, well, what are they? Are they saying that there should be violence? Are you saying to kill Americans? And he said, no. We're just saying that America has a very, very bad foreign policy, and their foreign policy is killing people like us. Okay, so that's what's happening in the mosque. He said, oh, the Arab mosques, they're saying pick up your arms and kill Americans, but not the other mosques. The other mosques are basically the ones that he's familiar with, are basically just saying, we don't like America because we don't like the fact that they're killing our people overseas. That's a problem.
Absolutely. Joy, we've got 2 more years left of this Obama administration, an administration that will not call it what it is. In those 2 years, on a 1 to 10 scale, how dangerous is this going to get with this leadership or lack of?
Again, I don't want to be hysterical about this. I do want to say that this is very, very, very dangerous. And we don't have 2 years to wait for another elected official to come in here who has his head on straight. We really, really need every single person who's on this radio show to start talking about Sharia and Sharia phobia and Shariaism and start having these conversations publicly everywhere. And anyone you talk to, we've got to have grassroots protests. That is what it's going to take. State by state, region by region, county by county, town by town. This is what has to happen. A grassroots, peaceful, I'll say, revolution.
Tell me quickly about the book. Where can people obtain the book, Shariaism Here, Joy Brighton, the author? How can they obtain a copy?
They can go to Amazon.com. This book is really just a stack of my slides, my PowerPoint slides from talking all over to policy groups and everywhere else. It is a picture book. It's a book meant for, you got 5 minutes with a cup of coffee, you flip through it, every page is unto itself, it's not black and white, pictures and quotes. It's 60 American news stories from 2008 to 2014 in which I separate religion from politics, and I say, there it is, there's Shariaism, this is not about freedom of religion, we need to do something. And it really shows you what's happening. It's exclusively about America. What's happening in America thanks to the Muslim Brotherhood.
Absolutely. Joy Brighton, author of Shariaism Here. Please come back in the future. I always look forward to having you on this program. God bless and thank you so much.
Thank you, Deb. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take care. Thank you. Wow. I had a comment, and I think I'll hold it in regards to that one caller that called in. There are naive and very stupid people with some of their remarks and the way they say things in a public manner. I will say this. We have a very naive country right now. We have a very naive administration. And what's going on in this country and what's going on around the world is something, like Joy was saying, we all need to be involved in, because there is a faction of people that are trying to absolutely erase our culture, kill our culture, and take over our culture. And by being naive and being flippant, that's not going to help anything. Education is going to shed light on this whole problem, and we have to be aware, okay? Thanks to Joy Brighton, author of Shariaism is Here. We've got to get a weather forecast in here, and the weather this hour is brought to you by Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. Don Scarrow and the rest of the crew, oh my goodness, the very best of beef, pork, lamb, processing of wild game. They guarantee everything that they sell, and they sell taste one bite at a time. Scarro's Meats in Jerome, and right now here is Michael Rogers' weather.
Hi everybody, Michael Rogers for Zeb at the Ranch. Right now your temperatures are going to be in the 50s all the way through Monday. You got a break today and tonight and Friday. You're going to see rain on Friday night, Saturday night. Get a break on on Sunday, pick right back up on Sunday night. So what you got is a mess. It's going to take you pretty much through the weekend. Highs today 56, overnight low 44. Friday more the same. You're going to stay in the 50s with this warm, moist flow that's coming out the Pacific. I called it yesterday the Pineapple Express. So enjoy the weather, Shirley. What do you got?
Thank you, Michael. And again, I want to say thank you to Scarro's Meats, Don Scarrow, and the rest of the crew. Boy, I'll tell you what, they are locally owned over in Jerome and serve all of southern Idaho. As I said, with beef, pork, lamb, processing of wild game, they are the best. Selling taste one bite at a time. Scarro's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome, 324-7657. This is going to wrap it up for this week on this program, and we'll be back again next Monday. We already have a full slate for next Monday, and I'm really, really excited about the guests that we have. Of course, we're going to have Frosty Woldridge on the air, and then at 9:30 on Monday, we've got the Alliance Defending Freedom, and Carrie Kupek always has very interesting stories that her lawyers are working on. Then at 10:06, we're going to have a cardiologist on the air, Dr. Pamela Morris, and she's going to be talking about having a heart attack and what to do when you have a heart attack, what you can do possibly to avoid a heart attack. And we're going to have her on the air at 10:06, and then we're going to have our legislative update with Senator Dean Cameron. Dean's going to be on the air at 10:30 next Monday, so don't miss that. Want to remind everybody and say thank you to our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all of them, all 7, and it's Founders Day celebration time right now in honor of the founder, Mr. Les Schwab. Boy, they have got some super specials for you. $50 off custom wheels when you buy a new set of 4, and how about $20 off wheel alignment when you buy 4 new tires? All of this during the Founders celebration, and they've got tire buys like, listen to this, an all-season tread tire, economically priced, some starting at just $39.99. Holy cow. And the best in brake service. Absolutely. Their people know brakes, and you stop in there today and check out the brake service and also the front end alignments, the shocks and the struts, everything, the batteries at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, John on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy, the old Seahawk fan, I think still, on Overland and Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Oh, my goodness sakes, Gina, we wrapped the week up. What are you going to do this weekend?
I have no idea.
Oh, you're not working on a car currently? You're not rebuilding something or painting something?
Those projects are still in the process, but we may take a trip up to northern Idaho. James found a car up there that he wants. We may go skiing. Who knows? We're going to kind of throw it to the wind.
You really have got into this skiing thing.
Oh, yeah.
Holy cow. Little Miss Snow Bunny.
Oh, yeah, I'm having a blast at it. And the reward for me is that Kennedy's really getting into it, and he's really enjoying it. And so he made some great strides this last Saturday in his skills. And so, but we're just going to continue on with that, yeah.
You know, so I'm assuming that you're getting more proficient all the time, and pretty soon we'll probably read about your name as a qualifier for the Olympics?
No. Maybe my son in about 10 years, but me,
Really? What's the most fun part of skiing? Really, the most fun part, other than just going down the hill?
Side hilling is fun, except for it really works you out. Just the entire sport.
And riding the chairlift and everything.
Riding the chairlift. Every time you ride the chairlift up and you look down and you see that the ground is so far below you, you just pray that the wire doesn't snap.
Oh, I thought about that. I think about
it every time.
I've been on a couple of chairlifts, and believe me, I don't like heights, and yours truly left indelible fingerprints in the handholds.
You get used to it after a while, just don't start swinging.
Well, I'll tell you what, that's what Tom Horn said when they hung him. I got to run. Zeb Bell, Zeb at the Ranch on K-Bar, 12:30 a.m., streaming live on the internet, zebbell.com. The way things were, the way things ought to be. God bless. Have a great weekend, everybody.